Welcome to the Boston's Big Four podcast. Cast. New news about music and sports every week, sometimes.
All right, we're back. Episode 75, Boston's Big Podcast. We got Stephen Michael with us, special guest in the building.
What's good? What's good? 75, guys. That's crazy.
75,
Going
yeah, that's
up.
a lot. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, we better.
It's taken a couple of years, though.
Yeah, it's definitely
Consistency. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, we're getting the reps in. I feel like we've been getting stronger. I've been noticing the growth. And
Yeah.
Speaking of growth, what merch?
We got some merch. Our first big merch drop.
Yeah, we're out here. We got gray
we got
tees.
sweatshirts. We got
If it's
t-shirts.
before Labor Day, you might want to get yourself a white tee.
there you go.
Uh-oh.
Let's go.
That's Owen's favorite. Owen loves the white tees.
I love white tees. Check back. You can confirm it. Past episodes.
He's worn a white tee, I think, in every episode until now.
It's getting chilly out. How about a hoodie? Bow, 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 bow. We're wearing hoodies now. I'm
Hoodie
still
season.
warm, so I'm wearing
Hoodie
a
season.
t-shirt. But yeah, everybody, hit us up.
Hit us up.
Keychains coming soon. Bottle openers, sunglasses probably. What do you want? Hit us up. Sound off in the comments for more merch. Different designs coming soon too. Losing my mind about it. I'm just so excited. But everybody, we're doing merch. We're doing
All right.
merch.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
That was great.
But we are here with Stephen Michael, very special guest.
Stephen Michael, welcome aboard.
You came on a very exciting cast. This
Thanks
is
for having
super
me,
fun.
guys. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Love what you guys are doing.
Likewise,
you
man.
know, building community. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we're out here trying.
You've been busy. A lot of music lately. Last couple years, really, right?
Yeah. So the long and short of my situation, I'll catch you up to speed. Anyone that doesn't know my situation, did the whole music's been a part of my life forever.
Yeah.
And fifth grade, jazz band, playing in punk rock bands, hip hop band, whatever. It's always been a part of my life. And we live in a society that's not a realistic thing. And I came from a place where no one was pushing me to pursue my music other than what it was, fun. It was always athlete, do the sports thing. Ended up going to college to play sports. I played hockey and got out and was like, okay, I guess I'm done with music, and had to get a job, right? Because that's what you're told to do. If not directly, at least indirectly. And so I did that, and I got a corporate sales job, and I did that for 5 years, and I was actually pretty successful at it as far as, numbers go. And I woke up when I was like 28 years old and peers my parents' age, and just was not thrilled with where I was. The money was there, the stability was there, really everything that would, on the outside make it seem like, I'm in a really good place, but there was always something missing, and that thing was always my purpose and my passion. Like, music has always been this thing for me, and not necessarily just the music, the words and my writing and the combination of both. Whatever my thing has always been my thing. And, so quit my job, save some money, quit my job. And for the past couple of years, I've just been figuring it out and working my way back to where I should have been all along. And it's been a learning process. And through that, I've been releasing music. And, actually, because we always recorded and made demos and, had, mixtapes and this, but never anything that we actually released. So now that I'm doing it on my own, it just feels good to actually be putting out stuff that I'm proud of, and, kind kind of getting back in the groove of it, and really feel like we're just getting going. And super pumped about where we're headed. Just dropped that new EP, but so much more to come. Super pumped. So long and short of the kid, but
that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. I actually didn't know like the full story of how you know, got to where you are releasing music the last couple of years. I met you about a year ago at the Leteb and Oblivious video shoot.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Video came out dope.
Yeah, that was a great video. And I had found out about your music like actually a little bit before that, I think. But it's interesting to hear, you know, just how you kind of, you know, strayed away from your passion a little bit, but then at a certain point you were just like, it's my passion, I have to do it. And you kind of just put everything else aside and went for it. And I think that's pretty respectable.
Well, I appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. You know, see, you know, we're making it happen out here. And you know, anyone that's checking it out, you know, appreciate you. Thank you for giving people like myself a platform to come on and share. So, you know, people like you make, you know, at least a little bit easier for people like me, you know.
That's what we're trying to do, you know. But obviously having great artists out there like yourself makes it easier for us. So
absolutely.
You're too kind. You're too kind.
I did want to ask you, so you said you've been doing music for most of your life, and off camera we had started talking about just being able to play certain instruments, like we got the guitars in the background and the levels of being able to play. And I guess at what point were you like performing, I guess, using instruments? Was that like, were you singing right out the bat as a young kid? Like, or were you, like, I guess some people kind of start beating on the drums at like 2. So I don't know. I'm like, was it that early, or did you get into it as an older child?
Well, so music started for me, you know, well, I mean, before like me actually playing music, you know, you kind of hear the sounds that you're around. And, you know, my mom was always big into music, like, you know, Motown, you know, Zeppelin. My first CD was a Led Zeppelin live BBC tape that my mom gave me because I was playing guitar, and she's like,
Owen and I are both big
Page. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. And so it's like, you know, my intro to music was before I started playing, but so I guess, you know, here in at least Massachusetts, right? I don't know how it is the rest of the country. And honestly, I don't know how it is even today because of funding for things. And, you know, if kids aren't able to play music, that's a shame, but that should always be funded. But however it is, you know, 3rd grade was rocking the recorder, right? You know, like everybody played the recorder in at least public schools. And I was nice at the recorder, like hot cross buns all day, like killed it. Oh, the joy. And your boy was nice at the recorder, but I was also, like I said, big into sports. So like, I don't want to do music. I just want to play hockey. I want to play street hockey, you know, play hockey 5 days a week, you know, year round for 25 years, right? That's what you got to do. But I was always playing music, but I skipped in 4th grade. You have the opportunity to like pick, right? You could have picked like a trumpet or saxophone, like clarinet, flute, couple different things, drums. And I didn't pick an instrument. So like, I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm just going to do the sports thing. Then at the end of that year, as fate would have it, right? The band director from the high school of the town that I was in wanted to teach a kid in elementary school how to play bass guitar. Because he wanted to groom them for the marching band. Because I grew up in a town called Stoughton, and really good, really strong music program, like great jazz bands, great marching bands, concert bands, like a really strong music school. So
shout out to Stoughton.
Music town. Yeah, let's go. It's good. And so this guy, out of like 500 kids in all the different elementary schools, somehow I was the one that they wanted to teach. And, you know, so I said, okay, like, I think they told me like girls like guys that play guitar, and like, yeah, I was in 4th grade, like, had nothing. I could care less about I could care
Yeah,
less.
true.
But I was like, I just want to play basketball. Like girls made me
Yeah.
nervous. I'm like a little kid. Like I'm shy. I was a shy kid.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I guess that sounds cool. So yeah, that's how I got into it. And then me and my boys just playing, did concert band in school, jazz band in school. But yeah, me and my boys were just playing bands pretty much because my best friend played drums. So I was bassist, he was drummer. And we were making songs from like, sixth grade on. What was the first song? We wrote a song called Earwax.
Okay.
It was like a punk rock song.
All right.
Like that. And it's just like, I don't know, we were stupid. It's just like we screamed Airwax. But yeah, we were in middle school. Then we linked up with his older brother when we were like in 7th grade. His brother was like in 9th grade. And that's when we had our first like, I guess you call it like record album. We recorded like 12 songs. We played like, talent shows.
Yeah. I
was never the singer. At that early onset, I was just playing guitar and writing riffs and having a blast. And then like high school came around and we started throwing in a little like hip hop, and it was like when Fruit Loops was kind of getting big, and like so we were making loops and always recording but never really performing, because we were just doing it again, like we were just having fun. We had no idea, no business sense, none of that. We were just doing the thing. And then when it really came to like playing out live, like when I was in college, we were doing band stuff and playing gigs in Boston. We had this little acoustic thing, and a lot of different iterations and renditions of bands and styles, but always a continuous thread of just kind of creating. The live stuff came later though. So it wasn't like out the jump, I'm not one of these kids that I don't know if you guys see music stuff on Instagram, but like you got like 5-year-olds, like to see a 5-year-old that can play like 20 instruments better than everyone is like not even random anymore. It's like, oh, there's another one. There's another genius. There's another genius. It's that wasn't us. That wasn't us. But
so your influences were mixed throughout in terms of genres. You weren't. I was gonna kind of ask if you were specific to that punk rock scene from the jump, but it sounds like you did pretty quickly get into the whole 2000s hip hop scene at the same time.
Absolutely. Well, so to be honest, like out the jump, it was, because when I was playing in my main like playing skills were jazz. I was a jazz bassist. So it was always like, right? Jazz groups. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially like if you wanted to do like this lo-fi stuff nowadays. But yeah, no, we were always listening to different things. Like, so my first real gig was in an Iron Maiden cover band. Do you know Iron Maiden?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. My first, I was in 8th grade, and we played we were like the 5th opener for like a death metal show. You remember death metal?
Oh
like,
yeah, I still like Five Finger Death Punch. I'll go in it once in a while.
Yeah, dude. So we were doing one of the kids' older brothers was in one of the bands that was playing at the gig, and like we need another opener, so we played these Iron Maiden things, and I was in 8th grade, go in there ripping these guitar solos in like a Quicksilver sweatshirt with just like cargo shorts, and it's like I'm seeing like
was the brand.
I forgot about Quicksilver.
I used to have a Quicksilver sweatshirt as
well. You know what I mean? Like
everyone did.
Everyone
did at one
Janko
point.
shorts or something.
Oh yeah.
The Quicksilver is fire. But yeah, everybody else was like adults, or like they seemed like adults at the time. So probably like, 20s and whatnot, but in like all leather and like tight leather army fatigue with the boots and stuff.
Oh wow.
So he was feeling a little out of place, but what are you gonna do? It was good. It was a good time.
Absolutely.
So but yeah, so the influence is all over the place, man. Like
I kind of figured that.
All over the place.
I
High
kind of
school,
figured
once
that.
I got my car, 88.9. You remember 88.9 at night when they would have the hip hop
Wow.
Emerson radio?
Wow.
Yeah,
I forgot about 88.9.
So
Wow, you're
88.
bringing all the throwbacks.
You're asking me my influences. This is where, and
That's
like,
Quicksilver,
so
88.9. I feel like I'm in 2002
yeah,
right now.
Iron Maiden, 88.9. But yeah, then like listening to on 88.9, I remember listening, like hearing like terminology for the first
Oh, yeah.
time, and like like Static Selector and all the like Boston Underground cats, and I was just like, damn, we need to rap more. And so then it's just we were freestyling in the car, and so it's like, and now if you listen to my music today, it's like you hear a little bit of I'm letting the music do its own thing.
Yeah.
But there's definitely I'm definitely finding a way to a synthesis, right? I'm working towards letting the music be what it's going to be, but how can I make all of this kind of blend in together and work?
It's been working.
Oh,
well,
thank you. Appreciate it.
So you dropped Lost in the Wonder last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then this year you dropped Still Lost.
Yeah.
So you're still lost.
Well,
I'm
no, I know, but it does matter though. It doesn't matter because those titles are.
I mean, it's interesting when you look at those two titles.
Right. And if you want to like listen to the lyrical content too, like, and again, like everybody listens to music differently, and I'm sure every writer, means everything they say, but I put a lot into like literally every word. So if you run the words down, like Lost in the Wonder, and then Still Lost, it's kind of tracking my journey at the moment, but also not 100% about me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm obviously as an artist, you draw from what's around you. At least this artist, you draw from your environment, you draw from your setting, you draw from your experience, you draw from people and their experiences. You observe, you see what's going on around you, and I'm a pretty introspective guy, and that's just the way I am. So I figured that's the way my music should be. And because we all got a unique gift out here, right? And the way you do what you do is the way that you do it, and no one else is going to do it that way if you're really doing your own thing. And that's hard, especially nowadays where it's like, it seems like everybody's trying to do what everyone else is doing because that's what gets the ball across the goal line in a quicker manner. But not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but like, how can we find balance with that? Like everything. And yeah, so where I'm going, I got Lost in the Wonder, Still Lost. Like, I know what my next album is gonna be, and like I know, and I know where I'm gonna be when it is, and it's gonna be in the theme of the Still Lost, and but we won't be lost at that point.
Okay.
We won't be lost.
That's good news.
And yeah, right. Well, and so I'll say this. Lost in the Wonder, I was unintentionally lost, right?
Okay.
Still Lost, intentionally lost.
Okay.
Different. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? Should I explain that?
So can I give you my interpretation?
Yeah,
and you can
let's hear
tell me
this.
if I'm right. So Lost in the Wonder is you basically representing you leaving the corporate life to explore what you think you can make out of the talents that you grew up thinking you would be able to do something with. And that was like kind of scary and mysterious in the beginning. So you're sort of lost in the wonder of what could be. And now you've gotten footing in that area and you feel like you need to, before you try to like jump back into, because there's probably a way that you could make this business back into being corporate again, or in a way, you know, like running things more like a business. So you're taking your time in this wonder, staying almost lost on purpose to discover what you can until you jump back into the more serious business side of things again. Does this make sense?
Man, that's not how I was gonna say it, but that's a beaut. That's like exactly what I'm doing. That's exactly what it
Dude,
is.
There you go, Owen.
Just killing it with the merch and killing it with the interpretations.
I appreciate
Yeah,
you
Always the
no,
doing
brains behind this
right,
operation.
right. To an extent, and it's funny you mentioned that. It's like, yeah, kind of like so. Lost in the Wonder. That was the main thrust. Especially if you listen to the main song, listen to the title track, "Lost in the Wonder." Like, just listen to the words. But there's like some other lessons that were like peppered in throughout my mid 20s and early 20s, right? That's like, that album is so raw. I went into it, I remember booking, like, I'll spare you the details, but I was trying to make a band work. Like the first year after quitting my job, I was going back and forth between, do I want to do solo stuff or do I want to try to get the band going? And so I was torn kind of between those, kind of doing both, trying to do both for like that first year, in addition to doing, some traveling and getting my mind right. And it didn't work. I couldn't do both. And, certain things in life happened to like really be like, pick the one and go with it. And so I ended up choosing it was on like November 1st, 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago, and on November 1st, so almost anniversary of it, I decided that I was going to go do it by myself and say, can't pull people with you if they don't want to come, just do it. And so I hit up the Archetype. I don't know if you guys know Arc over at Bridge Sound and Stage.
Yep.
Yeah, so I hit up Arc. Oh yeah, shout out Still Go, shout out Archetype, John Ullman, Chris Talkin, Mo Pope. They're all so dope. They really are so
yeah, they're
dope.
amazing. They're amazing. We've seen them live a couple of times.
They're dope. And working with Arc is I haven't worked with many people outside of the people that I grew up working with. You know what I mean? So collaboration, it's dope to have someone like Arc. And at this point, Arc and I have done like 25, 30 songs together.
Wow.
We've released, the album was like 12 tracks. We released a couple of singles. Well, I released a couple of singles. And then, so about 20. And then we have like 5 or 6 unrecorded. And then a bunch more that, I just pretty much wasted money and time at the studio on that we won't ever probably do anything with. But those are the lessons.
Exactly.
You got to learn.
That's a learning experience.
The studio is expensive. Be ready.
You
know what
exactly.
I mean?
Exactly.
You only got to learn that lesson one time, maybe twice. Yep. But promise not a third time. But yeah, so I hit up Arc and was like, all right, let's do this. Let me, can I book some time? And I only hit up Arc because, I just happened to, one of my boys, Rose Glenn, I don't know if you know.
Shout out Rose Glenn, yep.
Rose Glenn, my boy John, and, John's always been plugged into the scene. He's super dope, one of the dopest videographers and photographers in the Mass area, and realistically, like just kind of in this scene, like up and down the East Coast. He's dope. And he just always had good things to say about Arc whenever I would bring up recording. And it was just like, all right, I'm just going to hit up Arc. Like I didn't do any research. Like, that's just how I kind of roll on the gut feelings at this point. And I was like, all right, this is where the world's pointing me to, is to, link with Arc. So I linked with Arc, and we've been, cooking up since. And yeah, so that was dope. That album was 4 songs. I went in there, I had 4 songs written, ready to go. Mostly produced at my house in my home studio, and then brought them in, and I thought I was going to do an EP, and then just the way that recording schedule happened, like in booking, I just kept writing these new other songs and things that were like, oh, that needs to go on this, that needs to go on this, oh shit, that should be on here too. And then it ended up being this 12-song thing that really wasn't like planned, but to me, like, obviously it is what it is, and it's what it was supposed to be. So that one's definitely really raw. Like, it was first time really doing like a professional studio recording process, and not for nothing, just learning your way around being in a studio, getting in front of microphones and recording your voice, like with good equipment, is different. It's a skill. You have to, like, you hear everything, you gotta, and that's a great thing, because that allows you to use inflections and these different things that, as, I keep going here, I'm giving myself the ability and the opportunity to just do what I want to do and try things, as I'm sure is evident on the new EP, if you've checked it out.
Yep.
I'm just, whatever the song calls for, I'm gonna try to do it, and if it feels good to me, that's the way we're gonna rock it. But being, this deep into the process now, like really going all in and being in the studio and investing in myself and investing in the time, gotta pay to play, right? And, so I'm glad it was, money well spent, would spend it 1,000 times over. Not only was the product, am I happy with the CD? CD's great, album, whatever we call them these days. But just like the learning experience, being able to learn, being there with, a consummate professional, right? Someone that's been about this game for years, right? This is a good life lesson, right? If you want to learn stuff and you want to learn it faster, just find the people that already know how to do it and are already being successful at doing it.
Right.
And just ask them some questions, watch them, observe, see how they move, see what they're doing. It's like, okay, that's working for them. Let me try to pick that up. And, people don't need to tell you gems. You can observe. And you can pick up gems off of people that they might not even know they're dropping. Now, Ark knows he's dropping gems. But, in life, keep your eyes open, right? So you never know when the next lesson is coming from.
Yeah, bottom line, steal, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Right? Yeah.
It's
not
what he was.
Picasso said that, yeah? You ever hear what Picasso said?
No, did he really say that?
What did he say?
He said something along the lines, don't quote me because but something along the lines of the best artists are the best thieves, right? Like, nothing is new under the sun.
That's true. That's true.
How can you take something and tweak it and make it a little different?
And I was obviously exaggerating because, like, taking tips from people is definitely not stealing, but it's interesting to think of it as, like, I'm stealing your process, or, like, I wonder if someone could ever patent, like, a beat-making process. Like, if it sounds at all like this, if the structure goes like ba ba ba, yeah, if it goes ba ba ba, you owe me. That's what they're gonna do someday.
I hope not, man. I really hope.
I hope not.
No,
I really
just
hope
kidding.
not.
It's totally
But they're trying to, Nestle's out here trying to make water, something that you got to pay for and never free again. So
I totally
that's
crazy.
I pay them for water.
Crazier things have happened. Yeah. Crazier things have happened.
So you're big into yoga and meditation. Talk about that. How important meditating is to you.
Okay.
I saw the video you posted the other day. You were meditating.
Yeah. No, so So I've been doing, yoga since I was like 12, 12
Okay.
years old. And I was plugged into yoga, as fate would have it, because I was in the gym. Like, so I've always been about the health and wellness. Like, I stopped drinking soda when I was 9 years old, right? I don't
Mhm.
know why. It just didn't agree with me. Like, I've been drinking water and juice since I was
Yeah.
a kid. And I, played hockey and sports. And so I was in the gym as early as I could be, because I was playing this competitive hockey. So I was able to get in the gym when I was 12. You were supposed to be 13, but I was able to get in because I took these like 2 classes with a trainer, and they gave me the stamp. Obviously, the first day I went in, I tried to like crush leg press, and I tweaked my lower back,
Yeah.
and so act like an idiot. And
That's easy to do.
and my
though.
mom, who was into yoga, yeah, it is, but don't do that. It's not good.
Oh, right,
Um,
right. I mean, I guess I can't blame you, like young kid in the gym. But
Yeah.
it definitely is
Trying to show out.
not what you need to do.
Yeah, yeah. But and because of that, it was a blessing because my mom was like, nah, you're coming to yoga. Because she had really bad scoliosis, and the only thing that helped her with pain was the yoga. So I've been in the yoga since I was 12. Obviously now it's much more involved, and been meditating, since my early 20s, but again, not for the past 3 or 4 years has it been consistent. And the past 2 years, I would say it's been heavy. And so we live in a really, really crazy world, right?
Mhm.
Base level,
Right.
level, like on a normal day when there's no crazy corona, COVID, and presidential elections, and all the bad things that are
Yeah.
in our face, it seems, at the moment. The world is still a very tumultuous place, right? And as we go through this world, right, we can't help but be affected by the world around us. Whether you're
Right.
aware of it or not, consciously or subconsciously, you're taking in what's all going on outside, right? And when it'd be great if the world is at peace and it was all, rainbows and sunshine and puppies and flowers and cotton candy, but it's not. And so when we're taking in this craziness, we need to have a way to kind of shield ourselves and keep ourselves in our own energy, right? And I do that through meditation, among other things. Breath work, certain type of breathing exercises,
Yeah.
help induce meditative states. And all of that is being in nature, grounding and whatnot. All of that is part of yoga. Yoga isn't, I don't know how familiar you are with it, but yoga is not just the poses, right? That's the physical aspect. Those are called asanas, and asanas are one limb of a tree of yoga. And so there's the breath work, the meditation, the physical postures, and there's a couple others. I'll spare you, but it all links, and it all gets your body and mind to a place of calm. And that's really when you can operate from a place of calmness, you can think clearly, right? You can make good decisions.
Right.
You can write a song. My goodness, right?
Man, I need to
Because
start doing yoga.
You know what I mean? Don't get it.
It sounds good.
It is good. It is good. And
Is
honestly,
yoga paying you to say
you
this?
don't need no. Listen,
Is
I
yoga.
don't, no, yoga's not
yoga.
paying me. No, yoga's not paying me yet. I'm waiting for my custom mat though.
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
there'll be some more yoga stuff to be seen. I got some stuff in store for you guys. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, you
He was
should.
about to miss his yoga class tonight to be on this podcast, and I was like, no,
I was.
we're not going to make you miss your yoga class.
And you know what? I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey,
so
man,
much.
it's important.
It
We
is
do that
important.
too.
But yeah, no, you don't. Let's not. Because I want you to get some benefit out of that. You don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to go to yoga class. You don't need to do these postures, right? Literally to get the benefits. All you need to do is start sitting down in a quiet room. Maybe throw on some little, YouTube, some meditation music. Put it on. Dim the lights. Turn the lights off. And just be there,
Yeah.
for 5 minutes. Like, it's not a lot of time. You know what I mean?
I'm going to do this tomorrow.
Yeah, no,
Do it
do it tonight. Do it
Oh,
before bed. Do it before bed, and then do it when you wake up. I
I'm doing it
promise
right
you,
now.
no bullshit.
I'm so zen.
No, don't do it right now. You gotta talk. Be
Yeah,
present.
come on, we're working.
We're working.
As you were talking me like into it, I'm just sitting there like,
Well,
I was ready.
so it's funny, cause I'm actually I practice Reiki. I'm a Reiki practitioner as well. So we do some energy healing, and whatnot. And so I'm sending you the good vibes. But don't go to sleep. Don't go to sleep. But yeah, no bullshit. 5 minutes a day. If you can do 10, obviously the more you can do, the better.
Yeah.
But we hit some diminishing returns at a point. But yeah, just be quiet. Focus on your breath. When your thoughts wander, just remind yourself, I'm breathing, and focus on your breath. Literally 5 minutes, and you'll get these. I swear to God, whatever you believe in, no BS. You do that for a week, guarantee you. 5 in the morning, 5 at night, guarantee you're gonna notice a difference. And then you do it again the next week. Maybe you make it 10 in the morning, 10 at night. I'm telling you. Listen.
All right.
And do you find yourself
are you on board?
scattered
Are you
at
gonna
all?
try this?
I'm down.
All right.
Part of me feels like I subconsciously do this in like daydreamy ways anyways. Like I think I'm usually like in my own area, like I work from home a lot now, so I just like will take time, just sit there. But I haven't straight focused on it to get into a meditative state. Like I guess I don't think about it that way, but there's definitely times where I just like stare at the wall and put myself in like this, I'm not thinking about anything right now.
That's
kind of
good.
Break. Yeah, which is
That is good.
Needed it during the quarantine because sometimes you're just like, whoa, I'm still like doing everything, I'm in quarantine. This is crazy. No, you just need to. It's an overload.
That's it.
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. Nail on the head. Just do that. Stare at the wall.
Yeah, it's interesting. It is definitely interesting. Sometimes in the office, you go and stare out the window. It's just, see what there is to see. Or
And
go
stop
for a
staring at
walk.
your phone so much.
Yeah, my neck's bothering me right now, and I'm pretty sure it's because
Yeah.
of that.
No, I stare at my
So-
phone too much. I realized that the other day.
We
Well,
all
I realized that a long time ago, but
Yeah.
now I'm actually trying to do something about it.
Yeah, chiropractors are loving it. Where
Yeah.
like the phones are like candy for dentists. They're like, oh yeah, just have as much of it as you want. And we're like, oh yeah, because you make money off it. This is what happens. Phones for
All right.
chiropractors, candy for dentists.
How do you feel, Steven, about social media and just like managing that and not getting too consumed in it?
Well, so it's okay. So I think it's an amazingly powerful, and the idea of it is so great, right?
Yeah.
Connecting people and bringing us closer, and that's what essentially what the internet's been out the jump, right? A way to connect people and make the world smaller and enhance communication. But man, it's almost like everyone's in like the most cliquey high school on the planet, and it's if you aren't careful, speaking to myself, if you aren't careful, you can get just sucked in. And I know I'm not saying anything that no one knows. No one's already. It's just if you get consumed, and you can, and I do. I'm human. All of us do. That dopamine's a motherfucker. You know, it's a drug. They got it rigged up like a drug. You know, so
it is a drug.
Yeah, well, it literally affects your body, your mind like a drug. But it's tough. It's a love-hate thing at the moment because, man, it's such a – I'm really, you know, to your point, Owen, earlier, I am getting – because it, you know, kind of was getting in my stride, and now it's like, okay, how do I take this? We're at a good spot. Music sounding dope. Got a ton of stuff coming, like getting momentum. Okay, now let's treat it like, you know, I was like a 1% sales rep in my previous life. Like, you know how to do business. Like, let's take this now. And so I'm learning the marketing and all this, you know, behind the scenes stuff. And that stuff only is going to work with social media. And it's like the lifeline for someone like me. You know, how do you build a fan base, especially in a time where you can't tour, right? My plan was, you know, pre-corona, my plan was to figure out how do I start booking shows for, you know, not playing bars. Like, how do we start, you know, doing Stephen Michael shows? How do we start getting out, you know, who do we link with? Who do we connect with? And that's not a thing anymore. You know what I mean? So social media is now more important than ever for me as an outlet to share what I'm doing with like-minded people that would be interested. And when you know how to manipulate the tools, you know, they're powerful. The AI is really powerful. And so social media is a gift and a curse. Because, you know, if you utilize it correctly, it's heaven sent, right? It's this thing that can change life.
Right.
If you don't wield it with the respect that it needs, you know, you can all of a sudden be, you know, go from being the happiest person in the room to thinking that your life sucks and you hate yourself. And it's like, whoa. What happened? Like, I liked myself 2 minutes ago. Now I hate myself. Then you shut your phone and it's like, oh, it was my phone. You know, so it's this balance.
Man, that's real.
And it's a balancing act. And if I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now, I probably wouldn't be on it. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree. If we weren't doing Boston's Big Four, I wouldn't be on it.
That's why I got an Instagram 1 year ago.
Yeah, I had to force Owen to get an Instagram.
Yeah. Well, that's why, you know, that's why I have like, you know, my Facebook audience is much bigger than my Instagram audience, just because I started Facebook when I was younger and I have that audience built in. You know, I didn't have an Instagram until like I started doing the music stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, you know, but again, Mark Zuckerberg, man, guy's a genius. Like, you know, say what you want to say about him. I don't know the ins and outs of my man's life. You know, I truly can't judge anyone because I don't know their situation. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
We touched upon it earlier. He stole Facebook. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
That's
a little different. Yeah, that's a little different than taking someone's line and tweaking it. Or he stole a multinational corporation from some people.
Sometimes it happens.
But yeah, shit. I mean, they're okay. They're like Bitcoin billionaires right now. Yeah. The brothers who he stole it from. So I'm not worried about. They're all billionaires.
Yeah. Fine. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be all right.
They'll be okay. They'll be okay. Just put it in an index fund, get a quick little return on it. But yeah, no. So that's my opinion on social media, man. Like, wield it responsibly.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess one thing I will say, social media tipped me off to my next question. For the video, it is what it is. You did a 17-mile hike, you said. and did some of that, most of that, or half of it, right? 8 or 9 miles of it was barefoot.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm going to ask a sequence of questions. Do you think yoga,
Let's go.
meditation, and Reiki helped your body stay resilient enough to do that? Because I've definitely done a hike similar to that distance, and
With shoes on.
with shoes, and could never have done that barefoot. So I'm wondering,
Yeah.
just how
No,
did
I
you keep
couldn't
your
either.
body
That's
up for
wild.
that? And did you do it all in one stretch, or did you camp or something?
So I'll answer it in reverse. No, we didn't camp. We did it. We hiked in the morning and hiked back the afternoon. Okay, so those were answered. And yeah, so it was like 17 miles. Honestly, could have probably been a little more. That's just what my phone said. And I didn't have my
Which trail
phone.
was this, by the way? I was curious. Does it have a name?
So we were in the Adirondacks, which is up in New York, we were way up there. So it was interesting. We were, I talked to John, Rose Glenn. We were going to put together, some, video stuff for the EP. I had a feeling that I wanted to do Is What It Is. And, kind of wanted to be out in the woods because that's kind of the kid's vibe. And so he just randomly someone that he knew from a long time ago decided to hit him up for a surprise engagement photo shoot. And he was like,
I saw he posted
we're
about
going
that,
to the
actually.
cat. Yeah. So he was like, hey, I know we want to do this thing. Like I actually have to go up, to the mountains. We could probably, these are where we're going to be. The views look dope. Is this something that, kind of meshes with the timeline? You want to come? I was like, yeah, let's. And, I just, like I said, I'm just rolling with things at the moment. Like, yeah, we'll figure it out. So the morning of, we were supposed to take a 3-hour drive to the Catskills, but the kid actually gave us the wrong mountain and wrong address. I don't know how, whatever.
Dude.
So the morning of, we ended up, so the morning of, instead of going to the Catskills, which is like 3.5 hours away, John was like, oh, we're going to Lake Placid, which, is like 6 hours away, or pretty much in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I guess we're going on a 6-hour
Hope you have your passport. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I wish, dude, we were like 5 hours up, and I was like, oh, we should go to Montreal. And he's like, you need a passport. I was like, why? It's Canada.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's
Another country, though.
Canada. You can't go in there yet. But you're close. And yeah, so got there. So it was kind of serendipitous in that respect. And, we hiked in the morning because it was a surprise. So we had to be there before the kid was getting to this spot, which was the deepest spot in the mountain. And we hiked in and got to the spot, kind of kicked it for a bit. Kid got there, we took some pictures, and then we started doing my stuff, taking pictures. And actually the whole time through, we were kind of getting little clips, and we weren't necessarily doing like a video, or just like maybe like do some B-roll type of stuff. And just, hey, here's we're out, feed the stream, right? And it was dope. And so we got there to take the pictures, and then I was like, because I walk barefoot all the time, dude. Like, it maybe the yoga, maybe all that stuff, but what makes my feet able to be barefoot on rocks and stuff is because I walk barefoot on rocks and stuff. Like, I walk barefoot in the woods like all the time.
Yeah.
Wait till, I don't know if you were following me at all last year, Owen, but like, I walked through snowstorms for like an hour and a half shirtless in shorts with no shoes on. Like,
you're wild.
Yeah, so like so up the mountain, so I'm telling you, like, the music is one thing, but we're out here. We're doing we got objectives. And yeah, so I was up there. It was a cold day, and I'm pretty cold tolerant because I do like cold shower every day, like, like I expose myself to the elements,
Interesting.
and let my
Do
body
you go
adapt
hot
to that.
then cold, or
Yeah,
is it
yeah.
a just cold shower?
Well, it depends.
I mean, sometimes you
What
got to just
type
be
of
in
result you're
a
trying
hot
to get.
shower. Like,
Oh yeah, no, don't. I don't always take a cold shower,
okay.
but but the normal routine is, if I'm just doing it in the shower, just a regular shower, and then like a minute of ice cold at the end. And
Yeah. Oh,
what it
I
actually
love doing
does is
that.
put your body in like a shock state,
Yeah.
a fight or flight state, and it actually triggers a sympathetic nervous response from your body. And what exposing yourself to the cold does, over time, you're able to, your body gets in that panic and that shocked state, but you can come out of it much quicker,
Yeah.
right? So the more you expose yourself to the elements, the more, because think about it, humans been living outside without houses, without modern clothing forever. This is how we were designed to live outside.
Right.
Our bodies are fully capable and fully able to withstand the elements for extended period of times if they're set up properly, right? And so, and again, conversation for another day, but yeah, so because I expose myself to the elements on a regular basis, like the fact that I didn't do the whole thing barefoot was probably a good thing, but it's surprising that I did, because normally the shoes are off the whole time. But
wow.
yeah, dude, on the way down, I stepped on some root, like some sharp root, because it was a little muddy, and yeah, I had like this gash in the bottom of my foot, and I didn't know it. I just kind of knew it was like little sting, little zinger on there for probably about like 8 miles.
A little zinger for about 8 miles. That's rough, dude.
Well, so here's what happens after walking barefoot in the cold. The blood pumps to your feet, right? And so your feet kind of swell up a little bit.
Yeah.
So you don't really necessarily feel everything that's going on down there, but yeah, I had a pretty nice hole in the bottom of my foot for a couple of days, which the following days it wasn't.
Didn't
fun.
get infected or anything? Did you have something with you?
No, I went and got some, Neosporin and
I feel
and cleaned it up. But my feet were dirty for like 5 days. And I scrubbed them. I scrubbed them for like 15 minutes a day, each day. Like I clean myself, but my feet, they get stained.
Off,
Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy. Well, it gets in the cracks. It gets in the cracks of your skin. And it just kind of stays there. Yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, video was dope. If you're watching this, go check that out.
It was a great video.
And it was fun, man. My aunt, one of my aunts, actually my great aunt, she's been dead for a while, but she always used to say, we got to make, let's make some memories, right? And it's like, damn, like, yeah, that's all you got. That's what you're here for, is to make memories, like, and like, make a good one. So it's like, yeah, like this music, it's the music is, I don't know. For me, it's more than just the music. It's like the fact that I'm doing my music. It's just like, because I'm supposed to be, like, I'm not, like, trust me, it would have been easier to stay in corporate America and wake up with the money, the house, but like that would have been, I say it would have been easier, but it wouldn't have been, because I wouldn't have been whole. And like the fact that I'm just doing this, and like, not for nothing, like that in and of itself is just enough, right?
Yeah, and
I'm gonna make this happen, and we're making it work, but like just what it is right now, like, man, I'm so grateful that, like, man, I'm 31. Like, none of this music could have ever came out, and none of the stuff that I got, like, would have ever came out. You know what I mean? And I'm pumped about what I got, and I'm pumped about what I've done, and it's like, So just to be here, like I don't miss and then lose sight of the fact that I'm doing something that like I'm lucky to be doing this. Like it's not the easiest thing, but like man, like I'm happy doing it, and that in of itself is crazy.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. So just hope to keep the ball rolling and keep giving you the real uncut from the kid's heart. You know what I mean? Like, cause that's all I got. I just
That's
got
what we
that
want.
genuine, and
Yeah.
if one person vibes with it, man, like that's pretty cool. Like
Absolutely.
legit. If a million people vibe with it, that's dope too.
That's even cooler.
But realistically, let's so yeah, just it's all good, man. It's all good, but it's all, you ask like, was I able to do it, walk barefoot because of this? It's like, honestly, I see it all as the same thing. It's just all of everything that I do is just a reflection of just what's inside of me. Like I want to live free. What's the most free way to live? Like, naked, right? Obviously you can't run around naked. You get in trouble, and
Shame.
rightfully so. There's a time and a place for everything, right? I never joined the streaking team at school. I was not a huge fan of that. But
Ours was D1. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. It can't be a streaking team.
Yeah.
No, I put that right out there and didn't even know.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
So good. But yeah, man, like barefoot is the closest I can be to, living naked in a
yeah, that makes sense.
Feel that. That does make sense.
I was barefoot most of this summer, but my feet were definitely not strong enough to walk a trail,
Yeah, you were walking around inside barefoot.
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
A little outside.
But so here's the thing. I want you to realize that if you did it, if you so choose and you wanted to, you could walk on paths barefoot. You just have to acclimate your body to it,
And then you might end up with a gash on the bottom of your foot, but
just by
it's all
accident,
good.
though. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that was an extending. We were going downhill, and there was like big trees with roots. Like, if you're walking a normal path, like you'll be able to say,
absolutely.
There's like a big jagged rock right there.
Right. Ooh, watch out for the dog-ish. We can't be doing that.
Gotta watch out for the dog-ish.
Yeah. So it's funny. Just to like an interesting thing. I mean, this is like a little cliche, but you were touching on the topic of. I was just gonna relate that one time, like it was some few years ago, like within the past 5 years, I think Jim Carrey gave like some speech at a college, and he was telling kids like that his dad went like hard, like the safe route in his life, like whatever his father did, like he ended up being like a banker or something, and then lost his job and basically had like failed, and I don't think he was able to like get another job or whatever like the story was. And he was like, so this man like took the safe route and ended up failing anyways. And like, he didn't pursue, like he always liked, I think he had an example of something else his father did, but his example was always, or the lesson that he gave was just do what you want to do. Because like the other cliche, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, but you want to do what you want to do because you might fail at it anyways. Like you could fail at anything else. So it's almost like just try what you want. Like, and I'm definitely paraphrasing. I'm sure he said it way more eloquently than I just did, but it's one of those things that I think people definitely need to hear more, because a lot of the time when you're 18 or 17, whatever, deciding what you're going to major in college and stuff like that, it's like, oh, wow. All right. So now I got to pick my like doctor, fireman, like whatever you think like you could be, like based on your grades at the time is like stressful, and you probably won't pick the right thing at that age, which is an interesting thing. So it's important to like keep your eye on the prize and not forget what you really is like sparking joy. I don't know if we said that on camera yet, sparking joy. But yeah,
Yeah.
do what sparks joy.
That's the new strain.
That's that new strain.
Yeah.
Let me get some flowers so I can
Yeah, let's
I can test it out.
share some joy.
But yeah, Jim Carrey's dope. Obviously due to complete genius. One of a kind, but we're all one of a kind. And yeah, to that point, it's like he's right. You could work your whole life and then get fired, right? That's a reality, right? There's a lot of realities, and the more you start drilling into that type of stuff, because I didn't just quit my job. Like I thought about quitting my job. Like I manifested quitting my job.
Right.
Like it was.
That's not something you just
plotted
do.
and it happened. Right. Well, it could be, but I
It
don't
could
think
be.
that's
That's
any
not the
type of big decision, right?
You gotta-
should
yeah.
probably take your time,
Absolutely.
and sit with it. But yeah, no, I mean, if you fucking, I'm sorry, am I not supposed to be swearing on this?
Oh, you can swear.
totally
It's all
allowed.
good.
No, you said doggish, and I'm like, oh, I've been saying way worse than that.
You did say ish.
That's just something I do.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So like, right. And it is cliche. So I want to touch on cliche. You bring up cliche. So the interesting thing about cliches is that they're a tired, overused, trite phrase, right? That is been said so many times that it's almost rendered like meaningless, right? Which is a shame, because the reason why they're used so often and they are this common phrase is because they're so true, right? And like when you actually like basic one, right? Simple cliche. Dog is man's best friend, right? I never understood that until I had dogs that are actually my best friends. Like I like my dogs
I saw your
better
dog
than
in the background earlier.
people I've known. Oh, yeah, Luke's posted.
Where's he? Oh, there's Luke. Shout out, Luke.
What's good,
Yeah,
Luke?
shout out Luke. What kind of boy was Luke?
Labradoodle.
Ooh, hypoallergenic boy.
You know what I'm
Big shout
saying?
out.
And
He's
Chewy.
chilling back there.
Yeah. Luke and Chewy, yeah. And like, so here's the deal, dude. Like,
Chewbacca.
that's a cliche, but it's so true. Like, that thing loves me unconditionally. That thing, that dog,
That object.
I do no wrong in that dog's eyes. That dog's always happy to see me. Like, just a ball of love. If you treat it in a good way, that dog's gonna love you.
Right.
Right, bare minimum. And it's like, yeah, so that there's truth to that. Like, that dog's my best friend. And I have a lot of good friends. I get a lot of really, really good friends. But none of them, my dog never pissed me off. Like, sometimes he might, eat like my sweatshirt and put a hole in something. But it's like, that's,
Come on.
I'll deal with it. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're good most of the time.
Right.
But yeah, just like, what's another cliche? I can't even think of one off the
Dead
top.
men tell no tales. Don't
Well, I
kill
don't-
anybody. Don't ever do it. It's better to take the risk than to kill somebody. Just a PSA.
I don't. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, what
That's
cliche?
a cliche. Dead men tell no tales.
I don't know if that's
no.
a cliche. That's a phrase.
I don't think that's a cliche.
Am I wrong? Shit. Sound off in the comments. Is that a cliche?
No.
I don't-
You're
Yeah, well,
canceled as a virgin.
Yeah,
I'm just,
Well, there's-
dude. I'm just
so-
trying to play the game. That's
right. So cliches are a thing, but they're very, So, when you say,
You can't always get what
never
you
work,
want.
Never work. You work. What was the one you said? You
Never
do what you
work-
love. You never
yeah.
work a day in your life. It's like, yeah. But I don't
Not
really know if
necessarily
that's
though. I don't
necessarily
know.
true, 'cause
I don't really agree with that one.
So I don't know
You
if that's,
definitely need
I
to
would
work.
call that it is a cliche, but that may not be a good one to the point. But most
Yeah.
cliches have like this indelible truth in them that, people like brush off just because it's like, oh, that again,
Right.
But yeah, no, Jim Carrey's his father, that's the thing. If you're afraid to fail, that's the other thing. Okay. You talked about failure. and you could fail at doing something that you don't want to do, so you might as well try what you want to do, because if you fail at that, well, at least you were trying, right?
Fact.
Well, I'll go one further. If you're not failing, you're not moving forward. You have to fail.
If you're not failing, you're not trying.
Well, but if you don't fail, that means you're not getting better.
You're not learning.
Right?
Yeah.
Just anything. If you are not,
That's a cliche.
because
No mistakes, just lessons.
right, yeah, but if you are pushing yourself, right? If you're pushing yourself at whatever it is that you're pushing yourself in, if you're really, really doing it, you're gonna fail. You're gonna mess
Absolutely.
up. Like, just by the nature of you being at the limits of your capabilities. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
But the only
You sent me something. Owen sent me something a while back. It was a meme, and it was like, every time you make a mistake, you like it adds a piece to your bridge. Like, you build a mistake bridge, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it was. Yeah, I think it was like, I forget what it was, but
I really liked it. It was like, every time you make a mistake, it's like a piece to build your bridge, and then once you build your mistake bridge, you can get to where you need to be, or something like that.
Essentially, it's all the same. There's a book by I read a ton of books. There's a book by this dude named John Maxwell. He's a leadership expert. He's one of the good ones. There's a lot of trash out there, but you got to sift through it. And he's dope. And one of the things that he talks about, just lost my train of thought. Damn.
John Maxwell, leadership. Never working a day in our life.
Cliches. Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry.
We
Owen.
fail.
My
We
bad.
always fail.
Lost it. Oh, failing. Yeah, he wrote a book called Failing Forward. You can edit this, right? Chop it off.
Actually, I'm probably gonna keep it all in. I think we nailed it.
Yeah,
It's all hot. It's all hot.
Yeah.
He's got a book called Failing Forward, and it's all about this concept. It's like, if you're pushing yourself, if you're really trying, if you're living at your edge, if you're trying to get, another cliche, everything good happens on the other side of your comfort zone. Like, all the, it's like all the growth happens on the other side. It's like, well, it does.
Yeah.
It does. You got to push yourself.
Facts,
If you don't push yourself, you're never going to get, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, cliche, but yeah, okay. Yeah. All right.
So true.
Gotta grow.
So true.
Gotta get better. But so you gotta fail, Owen. Gotta fail.
Failure is
Big component. If you're failing a lot, so think about planes. You know how planes work? Right. So
they're getting pulled up by the lack of air, like the displacement.
Well, not necessarily the physics behind it, but just so like when planes are being routed across country, it's the pilot, male or female. They're not driving the plane. That's a button. They press a button, they get you in the air. You press a button, you're on computer cruise control until you get there. And you're not actually heading straight to the destination. You're going and the plane's making these micro adjustments the entire time based on the wind and the all these different things. So it's constantly adjusting its course. So it's constantly going the wrong way, redirecting itself wrong way, and eventually it gets to exactly where it's going.
Sky.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I like that.
Well, but it's
analogy.
you don't notice the drift, but that's what's happening. The plane is going on a constant course correction until it gets to its destination. And, so that's what we're doing. We gotta, if you fail and you utilize that as a means to correct, like if I record a song and I'm like, damn, I wish I did this. It's like, okay, next song, you got that in your head. Okay, I'm gonna, add that to what I was supposed to do. Like maybe I should have stood further from the mic or closer to the mic, right? I want to be soft. I want to whisper into the mic, like get close to the mic and whisper to the mic. You know what I mean? Like
Make love
do
to the
that
microphone.
versus pretend. You know what I mean? It's like, so you do something wrong, it's a surefire way, if you're going to be accountable to yourself, that you can do it right the next time or eventually,
Right.
So failure has been, and I've been, I deal with failure all the time. Like, as an artist, I think it's just, I don't know, at least for me, one of my biggest things that I've always dealt with in my life is perfectionism, right? It's not good enough. It's not perfect. You know, it could be better, right? It's like, like you got to give yourself the opportunity to be you right now, who you are with all your flaws, because that's who you are right now. And that's what's real, and that's what's genuine. And that's what you would hope, at least the artist I am, I hope that's what relates. And that's what
real fans,
you know what I mean?
love to look back, like if they caught on to you later in your career, and they can look back and be like, wow, you can really see the difference, like as the quality of production goes up in these songs. Like maybe it's nothing to do with because I definitely would not equate talent of the artist to quality of production, because a lot of the times when you're putting out initial stuff, it's more homemade or something that is maybe not like as polished as later when you learn more music tricks. Like when it comes to production, you're like, oh, we're going to EQ, or we're going to do different things to the sound this time. And like when so if someone catches you in a more mature phase of your career and then they go back and listen, like that is such hidden gems. And I've said this before, like when I'm going in on an artist, it's my favorite to find all that old stuff, even, and then like find out the new stuff and see how the raw became the polished. And sometimes you see like what some people left out after a while, like some people won't, they'll be a little different in that, and in those initial stages. So, and rather than keeping it all in, it's good to get all that stuff out, so everyone can hear you at that stage, which is huge. I mean, we talked about this actually on a yet to be released episode, how like a lot of artists hold their stuff for too long and it kind of it dies on the vine and it's not important anymore, or it doesn't, it'd be weird to put it out later. So it's almost like you might as well put your music out if you have it, like, and put it out, and people will come back and check your catalog and still like you because they like the stuff that they discovered. So it's kind of interesting how that works.
Well, it's like, think about, so nowadays we have, obviously like the mainstream music has always been like really polished, right? Radio has always been soup to nuts. Yeah. But like nowadays, with everything being like, a lot of music being computer generated, you can make stuff that sounds perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, well, and so that's the thing. It's like, so, I do my own loops and stuff, and I play my own instruments, and I play stuff live for, at least right now, most of the stuff, what I've done to this point. So it's just, there's so many different, like, what makes a polished sound? I don't know. 'Cause it's like,
definitely subjective.
It's definitely subjective.
Right. You know what I mean? Like I listen, again, I go back to the punk, 'cause that's where I was when I was growing up. Like some of like my favorite, like I like, not necessarily punk, but one of like the big bands that we liked locally when growing up was this band called The Receiving End of Sirens. I don't know if you were in that scene. They're a local band. They got decent acclaim, but they were so sick. And so one of their, like, we got on to them before they were like, before they had the polished sound, and we had like demo versions of some of their songs. And then I remember like the demo versions, it was like on some like reverb.com or something back in the day, and they were so sick. And then they took a couple of those songs from the demo and put them on their first album. In the songs, they sounded bigger. They were still the same song, and they were still super dope. It was like, damn, the demo version was the better song. You know what I mean? So it really is like, you're never gonna be the other person listening. You're never going to have their life experience. You're never going to be in their body at that. So it's so subjective. Everything is so subjective, but particularly music, is so subjective that at least as a
I
creator.
think art in general is subjective.
Mm.
Oh yeah, of course. And so, but just as a music creator, it's like, as you get it to a place where you're okay with it, and then release it. You know what I mean? Because there's always another song, and there's, if this is what you're supposed to be doing, you got no shortage of songs, right? You got no shortage of lyrics, right? You can put them together, you can make another song. And in this day and age, that's almost kind of what you got to do. It's like, like you were saying, Owen, if you don't put your stuff out, it does die on the vine, and it dies on the vine quickly.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's, and I, speaking from experience, right? Like we made music from 7th grade essentially till 26, 27, where, we stopped playing in the band. We had 3 or 4 mixtapes, couple albums. I did my own couple mixtapes. We didn't put any of it out. And it's, now you're not going to offload like this back catalog of like rough demos and stuff. Like that's not what you're going to do. But to your point, if it was
Big
out
fans
there
with Skrelly Bucks, they might want to pay.
well, if we can find the files, maybe when the audience is there and there's the demand for it. But but you know what I mean? It's like you can't just offload that because it's not relevant right now. But had it been there in 1999, like 2001,
Yeah, definitely.
then it's like, oh well, this dropped when he was like 13. That's dope, But
Yeah,
so, but again, we're all at where we're at. You can't go back. You go forward,
yeah.
right?
Either
And
way,
so
the
here-
experience is under your belt, so it's not like you didn't get anything from it, despite people not hearing it, which is, it's
Sure.
all learning.
And let's
True.
be honest, probably for the best.
Yeah, yeah. You scared people. Love it. That is fun. Yeah, I mean, that's typically most bands will tell you, or most musicians will tell you, they hacked in the beginning, and that's exactly. You kind of you fail upwards in like these interesting ways, and right when you think like, oh man, I just got kicked out of that gig because people didn't like my style, you join Aerosmith and boom, you're Steven Tyler. It's just like it could happen. You never know.
Right.
No mistakes,
Well,
just
and-
happy accidents.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And it comes back to, especially now with the social media, right? It's like if you have a plan, and you know who you're trying to target, and like, let's be serious, let's be honest. Like, how many times have you bought something from an ad on your phone? I have multiple times.
Oh, they get
They
me.
know
Amazon knows
what
me.
they're
They know me
doing.
well.
Honestly, like only a couple.
Well,
But I definitely have.
but enough.
Yeah,
like they've
right.
the way that the AI and the algorithms work, they know what you like.
Oh, absolutely.
Daddy Bezos.
They know
To the point where it's
exactly
like
what you
it's
like.
weird. It's a little creepy, but
Well, right. And so, but again, we chose this, or did we even choose this? But this is the way it is. You
Right.
can't go
Yeah.
back. Like they got our information. You
Right.
got an iPhone at some point. They have your information.
Right.
It's
Right.
been in there. So let's not.
Yep.
I'm
we
an
don't need to
Android
worry
boy
about
now, but I did
Um,
have an iPhone once.
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're in the
Google's
system.
just as bad, dude.
Oh, I know,
Google's
I
got
know, yeah.
everything too.
Google immediately had me using my I don't like to log into anything on anything, and Google was immediately like, you're giving it to us, and I was like, oh man, like why do I have to do this? But
It's gone.
fine. It's the same as an
Never
Apple
gonna-
ID, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really change too much for me.
Never,
They already had
we're
me
getting
on
it
Apple.
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that also so everything, right? Good little balance thing here. Everything's good. Everything's bad.
Mm.
There's duality in everything, right?
Mhm.
Should we go back to flip phones? Should that be popular again?
Yo, so have you seen that there's a new Razor? Like they got a new
Is
Razor
there really?
flip phone?
Wait, but
Yeah,
isn't
well,
it
it's
still
like-
like a smartphone?
Yeah, well, it's like a Razor. It can fold and do a flip phone, but it opens up, and when it opens up, it's like a smartphone, nice and flat.
Okay.
But it's like, dude, it's like $1,500, Like we're getting
Won't
crazy
do it.
here.
Not worth it. Not worth it.
You
That's
know?
why I'm on Androids, because they're just like
Yeah.
way cheaper, and I'm getting all the same functionality out of it. So
I might go
Who has
Android with my
info?
next phone. I need a new phone.
Yeah,
I might go
Android.
Android. I'm thinking about it.
I'm an advertisement man tonight. I'm a madman. This is a Motorola Edge.
This
if you-
episode is brought to you by Android.
Yeah, Android, please give us money. We need money. If you look really closely, you'll see all the apps that I have, and you also see the ocean is moving in the background. How cool is that? How cool is that?
Yeah. You
Does
can't
your
get
battery
No,
that.
it's
do that?
definitely a better phone. I had Android at one point when I was at my corporate job. They gave us Android before they switched to Apple. And I feel like the old Android is better than my new iPhone.
iPhone definitely has done. I mean, I don't like want to get all into it about like the conspiracies, but they definitely build it's in their software, not necessarily the hardware, because like the hardware of these, like they're all little computers and they can definitely last longer than they do. But like the batteries are basically made to die, and the software, like it's like trains itself to like make itself.
You're talking about the
obsolete.
iPhone, right?
Yeah, they like plan the obsolescence, like they make it obsolete after so many.
Dude, that's
years.
my biggest gripe with the iPhone is that like after a couple of years, the battery life just becomes shit. Like absolute shit. And it's like there's no way that it just dropped off like that. Like it just died.
It doesn't happen. Like I had my last Android phone.
Right. Like you made this incredible machine and then all of a sudden it just like the battery just goes to shit. It's like, no, you just want me to buy the new one.
Apple, don't you dare sponsor us. We don't want it. We don't want it, Apple. I know I was just begging for money, but not from you, Apple. I don't care. I'll take Android money. Give me that.
And the planned obsolescence is real.
Yeah, we should beat them up about it. Anyone want to meet outside
Should
the
beat
factory?
them up about it. I agree.
Well, it's not just them, bro. It's like literally like everything that. Think about it. Think about this from a business perspective, right? Business lesson here. Does it make if you're a business? Oh, great example. Where's my cord at? Yo, so you see this? You see this cord, this cable?
Yeah.
Right. So this cable is actually super dope. I've had this cable, this guitar cable, my cable 1/4 inch for as long as I've had instrument.
Really?
My aunt bought me that cable with my first little practice bass amp when I was in like 5th grade. That thing still works. I don't know if you know anything about cables, but there's a lot of crappy cables out there that like will, break or malfunction or just not work relatively, quickly. That thing still works. That company out of business. You know why?
That's why.
Because it still works.
Because they made a product that was good, that lasts, and because of that, they can't make money. Well, and so that's the like. So when you talk about planned obsolescence, know that it's real. It is real. They do plan that. If you made a light bulb, because we have the technology, we have technology for infinite energy. Whiskey, Tesla, free energy. Nothing free is good for the powers that be, though. But I digress. If you got a light bulb that works forever, you're not selling any light bulbs. So, I get it. But the thing with the phones, not to make it a somber moment, but like, and I won't take it there, but if you know anything about how they make the phones and where they get their resources for the phones.
Oh yeah.
Man, these phones are like just as bad as diamonds. Like it's no good. Like a lot of bad stuff happening for the blessings that we have, the gifts that we have cost. There's a price for all these things. So it's always good to, stay in the center, right? Be aware of what's happening, understand what's going on. But we can't beat ourselves up about things though, because it's tough. You can't change the world by yourself, but you can change yourself. And by doing so, change the world a little bit.
True.
I think, and I think we've been moving in the right direction. I think a lot of people understand, like, in terms of just environmental impact. We got to work smaller, not be so, I guess in the phone department, we're not good. But in like other ways, I think people understand, like, you got to use less gas. Like, people aren't just like throwing plastic into fires anymore. Like, that's definitely frowned upon. I know people used to just burn anything back in the day, and now it's like, oh yeah, dispose of your oil like in this area at the dump, like go somewhere here. Like, people are definitely more conscious about it, and I don't think there really was much like effort to recycle or like even like, we had a lot of waste, I think, in the past 50 years compared to what we've been doing probably in the last 20-ish years. I should include the past 50 years as part of that. I know things have been going on for longer, but it definitely wasn't a normal thing. I doubt people had recycling in their homes back in like the 70s, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Probably not. No, I think
Yeah.
you're right about that.
So
Everything's really modern, dude. Everything's really new. We live in a very new world.
We really
Like,
do.
Like,
I
even,
mean, when
even
you look at how things were just 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, everything's new. Technology, especially.
well,
Yeah,
even like light, right? Like a light bulb, right? I just said light bulb. Yo, you realize that most of like a huge, I won't say most, but a large population of this planet doesn't know what that means to be able to walk into a room and flick a switch and have light. They live by candle. And when it gets dark without candles, they don't see. You know what I mean? They go to bed. That's the end of the day. They can't work. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of the things in this country and in the, this, developed world, a lot of that stuff that we just kind of take as like, oh, it's been here. That's new. You know, like televisions, dude. People our parents' age, television was a new thing, you know? So all of this stuff is, we're really playing a game that's never been played, with where we're at. And it's, so, kind of bring it all back, I guess, like full circle, like kind of one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. Why I'm pursuing this music, why I'm getting out there and trying to do my thing, because we do live in such a crazy time, and a time where it is so new, it is so different, and the old way isn't gonna work much longer. It can't. We're seeing it crumble. In all different ways, environmentally, socially, economically, and I don't see that as a bad thing. I see that as a sign of growth, right?
I agree.
We just talked about failure, right? Well, the individual's failure, societally, this is still a new experiment, and it's we're seeing that there's really some glaring issues with what we got going on.
Absolutely.
In so many different aspects, and it's daunting because it, if you look at it the way it is, it's like, wow, like for anything to change, it's almost like everything has to change. And honestly, I think everything does have to change. We have to change like literally like Tupac in Changes, like we need to change the way we eat, we need to change the way we live, we need to change the way that we treat each other, right? Like, my man is not alive for a reason, right? He was saying real things. And this is nothing new, but this modern society is sick. We really do live in a sick society. And so again, like with my music, a lot of it lyrically, touches upon, some mental health stuff, really introspective, like how can I flip this on me to learn from that situation, because I think we need to be, and I'm about to say this, like, I say this humbly. I think we need to be a little more humble. Like we think we understand, like we think we know, we think we got, as a society, we
Yeah.
think we got it, but we clearly don't.
Mm.
It's clearly out of whack. Like, and if we can't recognize that now, I don't know if we ever will. But now's the time that we need people out there doing what they're supposed to be doing. We need people pushing the envelope. We need people organizing, right? Like all these things that we're seeing. And again, like this podcast, it's a beautiful thing. Like, think about this. Like, we're sitting, three of us are in a different place, each one of us, and we're having a conversation,
Yep.
right? And we're talking about things. We're sharing ideas. And ideas are all it takes to change things. And if we got enough people sharing enough good ideas, maybe we can start making it happen. Because we're growing up. Like, eventually it's going to be us. Our age group is the one that's going to be next. We're next in line.
Boomers are clinging on with their last bony, dried, dead fingers. They're holding on to society. They won't let go. And we're like trying to pry them off, but they're like zombie fingers that just snap back. And that's been my whole life.
The zombie fingers?
Yeah, just trying to steal the society back from these boomers. And
Boomers got to
their
go.
zombie hands just keep latching back on. And I'm like, give it to us, please. We're ready, right? We're ready. I can rent a car now. Come on.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about what you'd say then. You made that video back in late May, I believe, when all the riots were happening after, the whole George Floyd thing. What was your mind state at that time making that song, and why were you so driven to make that song and speak on that topic?
Yeah, the world's in a really crazy place. And when, all that was happening, it's still happening, and it's always been happening, really. And it was just one of those moments where, I'm an artist, right? I'm living the artist life right now. Like this is who I am. And, growing up, it's like, there's different types of artists. There's artists that are going to say stuff, and there's artists that aren't going to say stuff. And, I just, not that I have like, at the moment, this crazy fan base or influence or reach, but I just figured that, this is, and if you listen to the song, it's not necessarily particularly just about the George Floyd event. It's just, that's just, a piece of this entire mess. And that was just, seeing everybody out. And, honestly, so when Corona first happened and the lockdown kind of, I started like being a real thing, I'm in create mode, right? I'm in doing my thing, writing. I'm in this is what I'm doing. I'm in this, creative mode, like album mode, writing new stuff. Over lockdown, I've written like 50 plus songs. Like that's what I've been doing. And so I was in this creative place, and, I have a song that I wrote when I was in college. And it was when, right around the time that, and I'll relate it to this, right around the time of the Arab Spring. Remember when that happened? Like, there was the European debt crisis, and then, they killed Gaddafi, and then Mubarak, and like, destabilizing the Middle East even more. And that was, again, like, I'm not trying to talk about politics, but that was Obama. Like, Obama was in office when we're bombing Yemen. Like,
Thanks,
my man
Obama.
won. My, you know, but and it's like, who set up, we got kids in cages right now. We got Trump did that. Well, who built the cages? My man Biden and Obama built the FEMA cages. They built the FEMA. So I mean, it's like,
Yeah, that's why he wants
to say
office so
that
bad, because he knows
one's
exactly
bad,
how to
one's
use those
not.
cages.
Right. So, and I'm not picking sides here, because like everything, duality, they're same side of the same coin, right? And I'm gonna get so much flack. Anyone who watches that, right?
Yeah,
But
dude, if we get the
I don't
hate
like
comments, it'll
e-
be the first comments
right.
we've ever
I
gotten.
don't like
So
You don't
don't
like
like-
either of them. We'll
I
get
don't
that.
I don't like either.
I don't think anybody likes either of them.
So I wrote this song.
Yeah, they're.
Well,
they're
I don't
both
like
dickheads.
I don't like any of them. I
don't like
any
any
of them,
politicians. I agree.
But
Yeah.
so I wrote this song. It was called "What's It Gonna Be," right? And one of the things I say in there is like, Sam Cooke sang "A Change Gonna Come," then Obama came almost 2 terms down, and it's like nothing changed, right? And so it's like the face like of politics doesn't matter, like, and it's like you got people saying that, because of who's in office, this is what happened. It's like I'm not necessarily sure that's the case, because it's been happening.
It's been
right?
happening.
It's
been
been
happening
happening.
for a long time, no matter who is in office.
Right. And when you always got to be suspect of what you see on any type of news, right? Because news is a business, it is a conglomerate, and they're all run by the same people, right?
Mhm.
So have a slight tinge of skepticism. That's all I ask. But so I was in this, creative place doing these things, and at the beginning of lockdown, I kind of just shut off. My grandmother actually passed at the beginning of coronavirus. She was 90 years old. She was living in a nursing home,
Oh,
and she actually.
Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. She appreciate it. She's a woman of deep faith, and she was absolutely ready to be on to the next page, and so it was kind of a blessing. But I say that to say this: my grandmother was supposedly affected by corona, except she died from pneumonia. So, is she a statistic or what? I don't know. But RIP grandma, love you. And so like I was just not like social media was not where I wanted to be, so I kind of was just shut off. I didn't want to, because again, like people worrying and fearing, like, oh, I'm gonna get sick, da 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 da. You hear the new pumping all the fear, and it's like, well, not once did they tell you that you could, go outside, stand in the grass, and get the sun, and that, and get some vitamin D, and be a little healthier, boost your immune system, right?
You're right.
It's
You're
only fear. So I tune out of that, right? Because you got to protect your energy. And I was about to go back in. I was going to release these songs that I did with my one of my boys, Brendan McKean. I did drop this song On and On, and it
I like that song.
So like these happy, different type of vibe, but like feel good, like kind of just like happy songs, right? Fun songs. And so I was going to release those, and I was starting to like get back online, because the way you release things now, you don't just drop. You can drop them, but it's, you like to give a little leeway, whatever, you plan the release. And I come online, and like the first thing I see is like there's literally like the world is blowing up and on fire. I'm like, oh my God, like what's going on? And then, so you tap in, and I just wrote this song. Like I was playing this riff early, like just guitar part early in the day. And it was like slow, right? So it was like a slow part. And the first line I think is like, there's a war going on outside, no one is safe from. We've all been dealing with these devils since day one. It's right. And like, so that's what I saw this event as. It's like, it really is like shit popping off, and like not in a good way, but this isn't a black and a white thing. This is a Democrat Republican thing. This isn't anything other than a good versus evil thing. This is the light versus the dark. This is that biblical shit. Like, and it is like there's forces at play in this world that are swaying us and pushing us, and you know, it's a good versus a bad. It's a very fundamental thing, at least the way I see it. So when you know, I turn on Instagram or whatever and see fires and riots and lootings and, you know, and more shootings and another person dead and people getting shot in the face by cops and, you know, all this like crazy stuff. Like, wow, really? This is where we're at? That's what inspired me to write the song. And again, like I said, it was a slow song at first, but then I brought it, you know, because I was going into the studio. I had studio time with Ark, and I was like, I don't know, like, should I record? Like in my head, I'm like, should I record this song? Like I have other stuff that I was planning on recording, getting the EP going. Like that's what I wanted to record, but I was like, damn, like, you know, are you gonna not say anything? Like, and so I don't think it wasn't my place to speak on it as far as like, I'm gonna tell you my opinion. Like, this is my opinion on the situation, blah, blah, blah. You should not, like, there's too many people telling anyone how they should feel about this.
Right.
That's not my position.
We don't need any more opinions, really.
Right. That's not my position. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm not here to, what I'm here to do as an artist is to, if I'm going to be the type of artist that I feel I am inside, and if you listen to any of my stuff, you know that there's authenticity and it's real and it comes from a true place. I had to speak upon it. You know, I had to do something. And I had to, and this was my response to that situation and the ongoing situation. Again, literally has, if you listen to the song, it had nothing to do with race. It doesn't. It's literally, it's a positive song, actually. You know, like we can change this, right? But we got to call it for what it is. And then I don't know if it's necessarily a verse, but like the second verse, I say, you know, the president's a racist and
his opponent is a pedophile rapist.
You know, and it's like, then people ask me my opinions on politics. I'm like, and want to know who I'm voting for. And it's like, well, you clearly didn't listen to my song.
Yeah. I would guess that you voted for neither.
If it was between,
you know,
Hulk
again,
Hogan or The Rock, who would you vote for?
Between who?
Rock all day.
Hulk Hogan or The Rock?
Oh, I think I would love to say The Rock, but honestly, I don't know. The Rock.
Okay.
So again, with the skepticism, anyone that's that high up in the chain of things and doing things, it's like I don't want to think you've been touched, but maybe you've been touched. I don't know.
Who would you vote for, Ellen or Alex Jones?
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. Let's do it. Shout out
Let's
InfoWars.
do it.
Shout out InfoWars. Shout out Alex Jones.
Right.
Alex Jones for prez.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Yeah.
No, I know. I'm just...
I'm also joking about shouting out InfoWars. They say some wild shit.
Yeah. No, but again, we were kind of talking about this offline a bit. Like, there should be people that can say wild shit, right?
Yes, yeah.
Because let's not get it misconstrued. The people that are, you know, supposedly in the right and are on the up and up, they say some wild stuff too. Like, let's not get it twisted. The stuff that you're being peddled and pushed to, that we're being told to believe, is just as crazy as some of the stuff that other people are saying, right? And, you know, I don't know a lot. Certainly don't claim to, but
I mean, you did touch on this earlier.
You can. I have a good sense of smell. Say what?
Like you mentioned how like the media is a business, so they're not going to sell you plain Jane stories. Like, it's going to have some spice to it, and they'll say things that they'll make things sound wild, even if they aren't wild.
Of course,
And that's
of course. Look at. Have you
on
seen some
every
of the
side.
headlines? Have you seen some of the headlines on just articles that you see on Facebook and stuff? It's like they choose the most. Some of them are completely misleading, but they choose the most like spicy headline that they can choose.
It's clickbait. It's a
It's
thing,
clickbait.
and
Right.
that's why you gotta, that's why when you talk about, when I talk about diet, if someone says diet to you, I hope, at least from now moving forward, you don't think of it just as food, right? Your diet is everything that you consume. And we consume content just as much as we consume food. So you
More
gotta
probably.
be more, yeah, right, more probably. And so you gotta be, there's definitely truth out there. There's truth. It's there. But you gotta look at things with the critical eye. And when I say critical, I don't mean negative. I just mean discerning. Like, look at it and just don't take things for face value. On either side, have your own opinion. That's all I ask of people. Have your own opinion. Because what ends up happening, at least from my, vantage, what I see going on, is people got opinions about things they don't even know about. You gotta, if you got an opinion about something, if you have a belief, if you hold a belief, you should know why you hold that belief.
Not
You know
just
what I
because someone
mean?
told you.
Right. You should, and this goes for everything, but anything in life that you think and this has been a big part of my life since, quitting corporate America and, being on this journey, on this path. It's like, why do you believe the things that you believe? Why? Do you know why? Do you have a good reason why? And one of the, hot topics right now is like race. It's like, does the white kid that grew up poor in Alabama, hate his black neighbor because he's black, or does he hate him because he was raised in a situation? And I don't, not singling out Alabama again,
Yeah, but we all know that there's
as an
super
example.
racist over there.
Or was he fostered in a situation that cultivates that attitude, right? Kids, we gotta always remember that kids, we were all kids. And if you've seen a kid that's been uncorrupted, they love everyone. They love everything.
Absolutely.
They're excited,
Racism is taught.
right?
Racism is taught.
And all behavior is taught.
All
right?
behavior
And
is taught. You're right.
so whatever you believe, most of our beliefs, when you start to look at them and analyze them, there are beliefs because we inherited them, right? From somewhere else, from someone else. And most of the time, if you look at where those people got it from, they did the same thing. So I just, when I wrote the song, What You Say Then, it's like, that's kind of where I was coming from. It's like, man, this is what I'm seeing outside. Like, the world's in a crazy place and we're fighting the wrong battle. We're truly fighting the wrong battle. We're fighting each other. We're supposed to be on the same team. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And
That's
so
like the phrasing. There's the quotes of like the pale blue dot when it's like these. The
Carl
emperors-
Sagan.
Yeah, like the emperors
Yeah.
and all these kings who have fought over for just like a tiny plot of land on this like pale tiny planet in the grand scheme of things, and to be like for just a brief moment in time you were a king. I'm paraphrasing, but it's just like it's meaningless to fight over something like when in the grand scheme, like if you were an alien race coming down and seeing like just us fighting on this planet that you're like, hold on, like isn't that where you guys live? Like why is everyone fighting there? It just seems weird. But when you think about it like that, it doesn't make sense. You know, like if you came across a land with like, that's like, oh, it looks like you could totally live here. Why is everyone fighting? That would be like a great question. And that's exactly what's happening. You know, we can't, everyone gets mad about their, you know, when it boils down, they're like, well, we want that resource and they have that resource and no one will share. And they think they own this land and blah, blah, blah. Like there's a million reasons to try to justify why we end up fighting, but it is like one of those like classic peace and love things. Like if everyone was a little more reasonable, if everyone could kind of put things in the past, which like some things are more recent past, which is harder to, cannot fault people for that at all. But like when it comes to like long, like we were talking about like issues like in the Middle East, you always wonder, like, if things have not resolved after such an amount of time, like, have these generations of people even experienced, like, they're really more experiencing aftermath from a battle that, like, had nothing to do with them, like, years and years before, which it takes, I mean, this is, like, also another cliche, like, one generation just has to say, it's all good. We figured it out, right? Like, let's just stop, right? And it doesn't always happen. It hasn't happened yet. Altogether, at least for the world. So I don't know. I got on a weird tangent there, but
Well, no. So I hear where you're coming from, man. I do, and it really does only take one generation, right? If we teach the kids to love each other, and like that's just what we decide. Like, okay, we're gonna make this thing right. Like it's only gonna take 10 years. Like the planet there'll be trees. Like it won't take long to regenerate this if we do it the right way, because we're in such a great place. Humans are so advanced, our technology is so amazing and it is deployed in amazing ways now, but if we just completely deployed it all, you know, to making the human family better, like, and secure, like we could, right? Like if we took 1% of the United States military budget, we could feed the poor globally for like ever. Like it's like literally that crazy. Like 1 year of our military spend can end world hunger, right? And so it's not hard, it's just a level of values. And you know, and I was just thinking of like, I'm trying to remember the lyrics. What did I say in the song? It's like, you know, I say, you know, a lot of people make it about, you know, they're like war, you know, race, da 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 da. It's like, if you know anything about like the war on drugs and how that started, right? That was clearly, that was to get a certain demographic into prison.
Right.
Like that's what it was. We
Absolutely.
have privatized prisons that are businesses that make money by having full prisons. Who you end Jim Crow, you end segregation, but it still continues, right? And you put it in, and homie that's about to maybe be president was a big part of that. So
absolutely.
You know, so lest we forget,
he was
right? But so, you know, I say what I say, way before the war on drugs, cocksuckers went and declared a war on love, right? That's why the murder's been sanctioned. Couple more protests. Watch them bring the tanks in, right? This shit's been, you know, I'll spare the rant, but I mean,
those are some bars right there.
Yeah, we've been at war. We think about it. Us as kids, you know, you guys are a little younger than me. So when I was in seventh grade. Yeah, when I was in 7th grade. So yeah, 4 years. Difference between us. When I was in 7th grade is when the Twin Towers got.
Yeah, we were in 3rd. Yeah.
Yo, we have been in, like, we were only not in war. Well, we're always in war, but we were out of the, you know, Iraq and stuff when Clinton came in. Like, first Bush was in, you know, Desert Storm, and we were in Iraq fighting Saddam Hussein. Clinton came in, stuff was still going on, and then when other Bush came in, we went back, right? Twin Towers happened, boom, and now we have literally not been in, we haven't been in a peacetime since then. We've been in perpetual war, fighting an idea, terrorism.
Which I will say,
we've been fighting an idea.
It's really interesting too, because day-to-day life, like right now we're in America, we're near the coast, like we're pretty relatively in range, like in as far as things are concerned, and it doesn't feel like we're at war. You know what I mean? Like when I go out every day, I forget. Like you're reminding me right now that we're at war. I know it sounds maybe that's an ignorant thing to say, but like it's to me commonplace that we have troops stationed all around the world in different places. Like it's almost the joke, like Team America, World
Every
Police.
country.
Right.
And
Like you don't even think twice about it.
so like just for example, like one time I traveled out of the country last year when that was still allowed, and when I was coming in and out of like hotels, they had these like mirror dollies where they just checked under the car to see if there were bombs every time you went anywhere. And I was like, this is so strange to me, but it's probably crazily common like in most other places because of like how dangerous it could be. You know what I mean? I'm like, why? That's something that's never crossed my mind, to check underneath the car if there was a bomb there. Just seems unbelievable. You know what I mean?
Now,
And,
let me
like,
ask you this. You think there's a reason for that?
I mean, they probably saw white people and thought those are terrorists. No, I'm just kidding.
No, 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 no. No, 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 not that. Not that. Not that. I'm thinking, my question was, do you think there's a reason why us here in America aren't shown? We're so detached
Oh, because
from all
our
that.
our government, I mean, this is like probably oversimplification. We're holding the biggest gun at everybody else. So everyone like behind the gun, which is us, like living as American citizens day to day, is just like, oh man, there's not enough sugar at the grocery store. And oh my God, like I'm freaking out. They can't find my toilet paper. And there's other people that are like, oh, did you know my son got shot on the way to school? Like at like other countries. And you're like, huh? What? Like, I mean, I guess that could happen in America, like, but
It
seems
does happen
less-
in
yeah.
America. It
And-
does happen.
Yeah, I guess less terrorist related, so it doesn't feel related to those types of wars. So, but
Well,
as
so
far
I'm
as,
gonna-
like day to day life, we feel safe. I mean, depending on where you live, I know there's not safe areas, but
Sure.
it's like, as
Well,
far as
I'm
global
gonna
wars
oh,
go.
and I'm gonna stop you real quick, man, because I'm gonna challenge you.
Oh,
Here we go.
dude, hit me.
Yep.
I need this. We need to get challenged.
Well, I'm
one
not going to challenge you in
challenges
this. I'm not going to challenge you in a sense of an argument. I'm going to challenge you moving forward
us.
in your
100%.
day-to-day life. You know, we got to use our words powerfully. Words matter, right? And what words we say matters, right? So, and this has nothing to do with exactly you, but we were just harping on the word terrorist, right? Right.
Mm.
So we don't have terrorists here. Well, let me flip it to you on the other side, right?
Government is
The
a
people
terrorist.
that have been getting bombed, the people that have been getting drone striked from thousands of miles away and blowing up whole village, women and children and innocent people, maybe they grew up, the kids, when we were in 7th grade, we saw our Twin Towers get blown up. Maybe those kids were in 7th grade when they saw their whole town get murked and their whole family get murked. And now they
Right.
grow up resentful and now they're a terrorist. Or are they a freedom fighter? Because that's the same thing.
Oh yeah, there's a
terrorists
fine
that-
line, 100%. Totally.
Well, no,
agree with
it's
you.
dependent on who says it, right? It's literally someone can call the same person can be called one thing by one person and one thing by another person and have them be identically true. So we got to be, because that person, think about it, if that was happening here, if people were bombing it, coming through to your neighborhood, bombing you and shooting you up, right? And you defended yourself, you'd be fighting for your freedom, right? You'd be fighting for your
100%,
freedom,
Yeah.
right? So we gotta be able to.
It's a scary perspective because you do have to wonder where it ends, because obviously as like somebody who lives relatively peacefully, I'd say most Americans are like, we definitely shouldn't be killing people in other countries.
Right.
That's not real.
Right.
Like, I mean, hopefully that's not real. That's something we put out of our minds. And I know a lot of people are blissfully ignorant because I remember watching a documentary of people coming back from like Afghanistan. Jack, you may have been in my class for this. This was in high school. They showed us like something about how like veterans coming back.
The Mr. McHugh's class?
Yes.
Yep,
Yes. And
I remember.
there were people with basically severe PTSD because some of the squads were pretty much just murdering people. Like they pretty much had like open orders, like, hey, if you see something, go for it. Like, so they were
Mhm.
just killing people and being like, oh, they were like reaching. Oh, they were like, there was a lot of gray area, I think, especially in the early days of when everyone was getting deployed in Afghanistan and everything. Some of the guys, I mean, honestly, this is like second, third hand. Like I could be extrapolating some of this, but I'm pretty sure like one of the guys in the documentary said like they kind of would have a game sometimes. They'd be like, how many heads you popped, like as they'd be like running down the street, which is wild. Like, and if you were in another country and American soldiers, like right after they like, I mean, it would be almost as if like, let's say our president right now, whoever that is, ends up shooting a missile at another country, and now like they're just fully coming back on us as retaliation because we didn't need to shoot the one, and a lot of people agree maybe we didn't need to shoot the one we shot in the first place. And then like we're just getting relentlessly hailed on by these like people who are revenge, and now your deaths are just monetary leverage, or like it's like your deaths are leverage to that other country. And this is way too deep right now, but like it's weird that deaths become like just, what am I trying to say, currency in these situations.
Commodities.
Like,
Oh yeah.
like how you're like, oh well, you killed so many of these people, but they like threw planes on our soil, so there it serves them. And like I did definitely grow up believing that for a little while. I'm like, we definitely should have like ruined them and stuff. And you're like, I'm like, oh, just destroy that whole country, right? I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. We'll just flatten the whole country. And then you're like, but wait, there's definitely regular people that live there that don't want you to die, like that don't want that. You know, it's strange. And that resentment gets created by rhetoric, and it requires we preach peace. But it's like, it's such a, what we keep talking about, cliches is a cliche of this podcast. It's really interesting, dude. It's really interesting. And I'm like, probably saying a lot of basic stuff when it comes down to it, but it's just interesting.
Well, so I want to, you touch on a lot of good things there, man. It's, but one thing, what I will say about PTSD from people that I have talked to that have PTSD, or I have a bunch of friends that serve that or have served, no longer active, and we've had some talks. But the thing about PTSD, from what I'm told, isn't what they see. It's not what you see, because we can see some pretty horrifying things and be okay. It's the realization of what you're capable of, right? And the fact that, those guys that were going up and down the street chopping heads off, or whatever they were doing, collecting heads in the battle, like, and talking about it, that's not normal for them.
Yeah.
When they come to terms with, holy shit, I did that. That's the PTSD. That, from what I can gather, that's what really gets people, is like how bad you can be, right? And that is a philosophical thing. Almost even like, I guess, if you know anything about any, do you guys mess with psychology at all?
I've taken some 101s, but I'm not.
Yeah, I've taken a couple classes, but that's it.
Word. So I just read a ton. I haven't taken any classes, but I read a ton. And there's a famous depth psychologist by the name of Carl Jung, and he's got I'm gonna paraphrase him, but he's talking about the human condition, right? He said, compared it to a tree, and he said every tree that's got branches reaching to heaven has roots reaching to hell. You know what I mean? And that's powerful, right? It's like we all as individuals have the ability to be the best, to be all love, like the best person you could ever imagine. We all have that in us, but we also all have the ability to be that, that the guard at Auschwitz, you know, like, you know,
It's all
look at
like,
where
hey,
we're
just following
look at
orders,
modern.
man. Just following
You
orders.
know what I'm saying?
So-
Like, you know, look at what we got going on right now. We got cops in the street shooting peaceful protesters in the face,
Yeah.
right?
Isn't
I
it
mean, I'm
funny
not saying
how
we're in.
cameras have brought that to light and people, I mean,
Yep.
Rodney King's beating was on camera, but that's like,
But that's one in a
because-
million.
yeah. And then like all of a sudden everyone with the cell phones just like, oh, by the way, you guys see this? Like, and that was
Well,
like
it-
world star for a little while. And then
Right.
it was just became like, hey, do you guys notice this? Like, this is wild. And,
Right.
and I mean, people can't, I definitely, once I finally saw those like videos, you're like, I mean, some of them, you're like, what was going on there? Like, Jesus, like even
Mhm.
sometimes you'll watch an episode of Cops.
Then you
you're like, they're
realize
being
N-
pretty rough with
And you
these
realize
dudes.
NWA didn't make fuck the police for no reason. They weren't
Yeah.
just
Oh
trying
my
to
God.
trash police for no reason.
Right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and so I'm not even here trying to trash the police. Like, that's not even what I'm saying. It's like, I'm just saying every single person, everyone has the ability to be
Fact.
the best and
The
has the,
best
ability
or the worst.
to be terrible. Like,
Yeah.
I got it in me to be like a terrible, terrible human being. Like, I could do like the worst thing. Like, I could do things that I don't even think I can do because I'm a human. We all have that in us.
Mm.
You know, and it's really what you choose to foster. Do you choose to foster the light? Do you choose to foster the dark? And again, it comes back to that song, good versus evil. Like, it's a thing. There's a reason why those two things have been juxtaposed forever. Like, good versus evil, right? These are two primordial things. These are two sides of the personality. These are, you know, things that every single person has to juggle. And you know, and that's where we find ourselves, right? And that's why it's imperative, in my opinion, that everybody at least knows who they are. You know, and that's why with my music, I take a very reflective approach, because
Self-awareness.
I'm just trying. Exactly. I'm, you know, and I got a lot of stuff, a lot of new stuff coming, you know, isn't necessarily the same. Still my philosophies and my thoughts and whatnot. But like these two projects are special, really early on, and really pivotal point. So like gonna look back at these and be like, damn, like you were in your 20s saying that stuff? That's kind of crazy. But you know, so it's, as long as you're taking an honest approach at your, you know, at yourself, and you're really, you know, you're trying, you're not, you know, because we all got stuff. I know one thing about both of you, that, and you don't have to tell me, there's something that you don't like about yourselves. And in that,
Nah,
we're
I
the
love
myself.
myself. Everything about me.
right,
No, I'm just kidding.
right. No,
No, I'm
in
on the
that,
brink, bro. I'm on the brink every day. You got me nail in the head.
No,
and
yeah,
in
you're-
that,
I think you could say that about everyone.
No, and
Absolutely.
you can say that about everyone.
Yeah.
And if someone is out there trying to tell you that they don't got stuff about them that they don't like, they're crazy, right? But in that, I know that we share something, right? We share this sense of we lack something. You know, we all somewhere deep down got this sense of
We're all insecure.
we're missing something, right? And in that, we're the same. And you know, as long as we can be honest with ourselves and truly be honest with ourselves, only then I think can we be honest with our approach to the world and to how we see society, and how we act in society, right? And that's heavy. That's a heavy hand. And like, that's, you know, is everyone up for that task? I don't know. But, you know, I think we're in a place in time where like awareness is rising. Like, you can't help but not be aware of some things now. You know, you could back in, you know, even like a couple of years ago, pretend you weren't, you know, or not even pretend, like just really be unaware of things. Like now, if you're unaware of, you know, what's going on in the world, it's like, how did you not know?
It's like, where
Yeah.
have you been? Yeah.
Show me your ways. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Please
Seriously.
teach me. Like,
Where have you been hiding?
because I'm trying. I
Right.
promise. And you know, but we're all a part of it. And so if we can all, you know, and again, it's tough. Like doing the introspection and, you know, come to terms with, you know, who you are as an individual in this grand scheme of things. That's not easy. That's not light work. You know, if you're doing it in earnest, that you're putting in some heavy reps, but I promise that it's worth it. And if we can all start doing that a little more, we'll all start to, I think, feel a little better. And when we feel a little bit better about ourselves, we can operate a little better in society. We can make other people feel a little better about themselves and maybe show a little more like, and literally, that's how I see the grassroots. We just gotta literally bring the light, you know, and that's cliche. Like, let the light in, you know, the light, like the idea of the light. It's like super cliche, but it's
So true.
You know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And
It is what it is.
Right. And I remember I've been saying it is what it is.
Owen just caught
like, yeah. Well, yeah, no, but I actually say that all the time, and
Yeah.
I remember like Method Man, like what was the track? It was like on a Method Man song back in the day. Method Man's like gotta be one of the best. What did he say? He said something, but he was always saying it is what it is. Like Method Man is one of the best out there.
Yeah, didn't he also say, "I'm gonna sew your asshole shut and keep feeding you"?
No. That wasn't him. That was ODB. ODB said that.
I'm mistaken.
But it was on his song. Yeah, it was on the yeah.
Oh God.
Just making sure. I wanted to check.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's good.
Maybe he was like, "I'm gonna put your nuts on the dresser, just
yeah,
your nuts on the
and
dresser.
hit them shits with a spike bat,
like blow, yeah, like blow." I think maybe he said that.
Yeah.
Gotta love Wu-Tang.
Yeah. So good. So good.
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang is for the kids, for sure.
Wu-Tang is for the kids.
Right. And everything should be for the kids, except, you know, old white men, you know, they shouldn't be for the kids.
Yeah, no.
No, that's weird. Yeah, that's weird. Don't be for the kids if you're old.
And white and a man.
Yeah. If you're an old lady too, that's weird.
Yeah, true.
Right,
Like,
right.
Stay like relatively within your age range.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's not be too crazy here.
What isn't it? Isn't it like your age minus 17 is the youngest? No, that's wrong.
I mean, not if you're fucking 25.
No,
Like, what are you talking
half your
about,
age.
dude?
I'm sorry, half your age plus 7. Is that correct?
I don't know, dude.
Well, so here's the thing. I think if you don't know, that's probably not a good thing. No.
I'm not even on the market. I'm just saying.
I'm not even on the market.
Yeah.
Word.
Half
yeah,
your
no.
age plus 7 is generally the rule, from what I understand.
I don't know.
I stay within like 3 years of my age.
Yeah, I mean that's probably safe too. I think that's about the
It's
same.
all
right?
you know. All this. It's all relative. As long as you know you're not being, you know.
Joe Biden.
Well, I'm not even gonna say that, but you know, it's like, you know, your podcast. Feel free. You know, I don't.
You know what? I'm sorry. Let me just correct. I think, but under 21, that's illegal. So don't follow that rule under 21.
Honestly, like, if you can't make this judgment call, like, in your head, then you're fucked up. Like,
Oh yeah. Don't be pedophile, I guess, is the rule.
yeah,
but
just don't be weird.
the
Like,
half
Yeah,
your age
yeah,
plus
leave it at
7 is,
that.
I think, for people who date like gold diggers, because you can't be like 45 dating a 21-year-old.
I don't
well,
know.
I mean,
Unless
that
you're Jane Cook. Jane Cook's doing that.
you can, again, I'm not here to project what anyone should or shouldn't do, but don't be a pedophile.
Don't be a
Oh
pedophile.
Oh my God, we shouldn't, honestly, might even cut that out. We shouldn't even need to say that shit. That
Right.
But yes.
Right. Yeah, you can cut out whatever you want.
No, we'll
but
keep
yeah,
it
no,
all
so
in. We'll keep it all in because everyone does probably need to hear that just in case.
yeah, well, the fact that these type of conversations are like legitimate,
Yeah.
and again,
Well, dude,
I'm big-
not to wild it back to Alex Jones, but he definitely is called at like pre-Epstein's arrests. He had been saying like there's some island that Epstein has like for pedophiles and like people visit it for that. Like that, there is some conspiracy around like higher up people like for some reason running pedophile rings. I don't know why
Bro.
that has to be a thing, but it
Well,
sounds like it is.
this is not anything new. Unfortunately, but like, again, I'm a big reader, and like history is one of the most important things that we're not taught. We're taught fake history.
Yeah.
And when you start to know real history, actually, this might have even been in regular history class, but like the Romans got to a point of decadence and just like sexual like licentiousness that like they literally had islands that were strictly for orgies, and they had kids there, and they were like, this is not something new, right? We just live in a modern context, and we think that this is not that this has never happened before. That it's like, nah, they've been doing this. Yo, we grew up in Massachusetts, bro. We know what the Catholic Church been doing. Like, they got caught.
Yeah,
They got
which is
caught.
wild, dude. That is unbelievable, and we were kids for that too. Like, I've
Right.
basically grown up to not trust like any type of authorities. Like,
Well, and
what?
True. That
Yeah,
is true.
Crazy.
but yeah, and so it all comes back to that, the good versus the evil, right? And
That is what it comes down to,
and,
really.
there's forces, right? There's the yin and yang, you know what I mean? And there's good and there's evil. And I would like to say that inherently every individual knows what's good and what's bad, but
I'd like to think that.
Some people have shocked me. You
I'd
never know.
like to think that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
please let me finish for a second.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like also, so what is good and what is evil, and there's some things that are clean, that I don't think should ever be, not considered evil, like, taking the innocence of children and certain, despicable things. But that being said, another thing when we are doing this type of thought and these type of thought experiments, and we need to also be aware that we can place judgments on it that are our own. And so like stuff that's not in our current context, it's not necessarily easy to talk about, and not in other places, right? It's not necessarily easy to talk about because other cultures do things different ways. Other places, other societies do things different ways. So, I would like to assume that, treating children like children should be universally accepted. And I think it's a symptom of a very sick society that it's not the case. But
There's been, I think, plenty of examples of evil people, like who would be considered evil, who treated children otherwise well. So people who treat children poorly are definitely in like a particularly low class of evil, if that is like any clarification or just like something to add to your statement. It just seems like there's definitely no ever excuse for that. Like, I mean,
I agree, because children are so vulnerable and like,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and
I agree.
a lot of people, I don't know. Again, this is venturing into territory that's it's hard to talk about because it's like it really is. It's I'm really in a place where I try not to judge anyone. Like because I know that I who am I to judge? Regardless of what it is, like, yeah, there's some stuff that, like, okay, I find morally apprehensible, but might not necessarily be my place to judge because,
Maybe they
I'm
come
not
from
perfect.
a bad place. Yeah, no, I understand.
Well, and it's like, hurt people, right?
Yeah.
You've heard that one?
Yep.
Another cliche.
Yep.
It makes sense.
And, so you would have,
I heard
you
Russ
gotta,
say that in
you
the
gotta,
song.
you gotta hope that, like, I don't know. It's just a sad situation when stuff like this is seemingly a norm, and and there doesn't seem to be a way to rectify it. But again, like everything, the more awareness, the more that the light is shined onto these situations, hopefully we can start to make moves and make progress. And again, we're talking about a lot of like the darkest things that are going on in the world right now. There's also so many amazing
Yeah. Oh, I definitely.
Like, the world
we for
also
sure
is-
don't have to dwell on these topics because they're so condemnable easily. Like it's just
right.
we don't have to go on about it. But
Well, I don't want your people to get all depressed.
Oh,
like
no,
we just
dude.
like
It's all good.
I
We've
would
had a
just-
variety of different podcasts, like where
Yeah, we'll
we've
talk
had some
about
happy ones, some sad ones. Like we're all over the place, so it's all good.
Right. All right. Well, yeah. So I mean, like, there is, all that to say this, like, we have little kids that have the ability in their bedroom. They're so smart that they friggin' screen print hearts in their bedroom, right? And like are creating these things, and we can screen print. China's been screen printing buildings. Like, we have the capability to do amazing things, and amazing things are happening right now. And just like the fact that, again, our communication, the ability to do this is powerful. Yeah, we're usually utilizing it as to do a podcast and to have a little chat about some songs and some ongoings, but like, this is just one of millions, right?
Mhm.
Like, think of the exponentiality of the communication, right? Ideas are being shared, right? And yeah, we have to navigate through them because there's a lot of trash and there's a lot of fluff and a lot of like woo-woo and a lot of garbage that we gotta see every day. But there's also
There's plenty of good
amazing
information on sustainability, people home gardening, did they ever have the accessibility that they had now? Like to go online and say, what's the best type of soil for my tomatoes? Like, what's the best soil for my cucumbers? What's the best soil for my squash? And you can like mix that up and grow the best squash your first time trying, basically. And like, nobody's ever gonna, like, you can look that up, and in the past people just tried. It was trial and error, and like, you didn't know, or you just hoped that the soil you had in your yard was good. You couldn't just go to Home Depot and figure it out. Like, we have access to grow within ourselves, like even in the space we have, never mind just going and like taking over other places, if that makes any sense.
Oh, well, I tell you, it makes a ton of sense. Honestly, that brings up a point of food shortage, right? Like, the food shortage is like such a myth. Like, I don't know what your neighborhood looks like, but if every person has a little plot of like grass, like that's a self-sustaining community if everybody turns their plot of grass into something. Like if I grew tomatoes, you grew peppers, Jack grew eggplant, the person down the street grew the asparagus, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I just brought my cart around and gave you tomatoes, you dropped off the peppers. It came by, gave you tomatoes, you gave me, like, we have the ability, and like there is like literally infinite abundance around. Well, it's not selfish, it's just we find ourselves in a system that's been designed in a particular way. Like we live in a materialistic, capitalistic society, and there's a ton of amazing things that has allowed to occur and to happen, but there's also some downfalls to that. So but again, there's just it all comes back to us as individuals, in my opinion, right? We can choose to see the negative because it's there. It's always going to be there. We can choose to see the light, the good stuff happening, because it's always going to be there. The bad stuff's always going to seemingly outweigh the good stuff, although that may not be true.
To work within those boundaries right now, though, it seems.
Right. You can be healthily upset, healthily angry, healthily indignant, and you want to change. But you can also be, pumped that this change is even possible. Because there was a time when, the common folk, if you said something against the powers that be, you got your head chopped off. Like that day, like, oh, chop your head off. Like, no, okay. Then
It
like
kind of did happen to Kathy Griffin. But no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's that's where we're at, man. Like, in that's where your boy finds himself at this point in time, just trying my best to practice what I preach. Rest assured, if I say something to you, I say it to myself. Rest assured, if I suggest something to you, I'm practicing it and I've seen the benefits. I would never, I'm not the type of person that's gonna tell you to do something that, I've never done. And if I did something and it wasn't what you should do, I'll probably tell you. Got a lot of lessons I've learned that way that we can take offline if you want. These are things, the mindfulness, the breath work, honestly, the walking barefoot, the grounding, being in touch with nature. Like, these are all things that help bring me back. Like, when the world gets crazy, and it's like it is right now, it's easy to be, fall victim to the negativity and the despair and the tragedy and the suffering and the injustices. And that stuff's so real, like we've talked about. But like, it is possible to be aware of that stuff, to deal with that stuff, and to not let it overtake you and consume you. You know what I mean? It is possible. It's hard. And like, it was funny. Like, I guess I'm that guy, like, that people reach out to in this time. Like, I got so many friends hitting me up, like, how can I like keep my head on straight right now? It's like, yo, do the stuff I've been telling you to do for the past 4 years.
Right.
Like, the same stuff.
Now
like,
you finally want to.
Nothing. Nothing changes. Like, go sit in your room, go sit in your room, be quiet, meditate, like, focus on your breath, write down some positive things, like, be grateful, right? Be grateful that you're not the one. You be grateful that you're alive. Be grateful that you woke up. Be grateful that you got teeth. Honestly, like, have you ever had a sore throat and not been able to swallow shit without pain?
Right.
Dude, whenever you have one of those things, like if you just like even have like a sore pinky, you're like, how did I take my pinky for granted? And you thought your
Yo,
pinky was like the
Facts.
worst thing in the world.
No,
You're like, I
this is
don't
100%.
what
need
I'm
this.
saying. Yo, this is what I'm saying, right? So at any point of time, if you are in a decent state of mind, you're physically healthy, like,
Be grateful.
you know, like your family is in a decent place, like as far as just, you know, whatever. Families are interesting. You know, but like if you have someone that you love that loves you, something, could be a dog, could be a cat, could be a bird, you know, I don't know, could be anything, but if you have something that you love, something that loves you, you wake up and you're healthy, it's so, another cliche, health is wealth, right? Well, yeah, have you ever been not healthy? Like, it sucks. Like,
Yeah.
even having a cold sucks, and having a
Stressful.
cold isn't
Yeah.
even a big deal.
Right.
It's like, you know what I mean? So it's
When you
like,
don't feel normal, it definitely never feels good. And if that gets to be your normal
right,
and
exactly.
you like accept it, I can understand why people fall into these like, oh, but it is hard to get out of. Sometimes, I mean, perpetual sicknesses are different, but like
Right.
if you have
There-
physical
again,
ailment, do you like
there's-
get down?
yeah, you know, again, but I tell you what, look at, you know, Helen Keller. She was deaf, blind, and she couldn't, like, this lady was one of the most inspirational people on the planet.
And
So it's
then
like,
she said,
you know,
wah wah, and everyone was like, yes,
right,
I love
exactly,
that.
exactly. So, you know what I mean? Like, we got, you know, again, and there's levels, right? Everybody's got their own stuff. Like, you know, just because it's good for you doesn't mean it's good for everybody else, right? So if we can just, you know, be more in tune with ourselves, and you know, more, what do I want to say, you know, and we can I guess just accept other people a little bit more,
Yeah.
you know, and realize that they're another human, then I think that's a start. And we got a lot of challenges as a society. We really do. We got a lot of challenges that we're facing. But again, it's on us as individuals, right? Because our government's not doing anything. They're not gonna. They never have.
Right.
They never. They haven't. Like, we've been doing the same thing for so long right now. It's, you know, come on. But, you know, if each of us as individuals, you know, does a little something, something, you know, and improves our little corner of the earth even a little bit, that makes the whole world better a little bit, right? Because you're part of this place, you know.
Right.
And again, if we can get enough of us, you know, doing the things that, you know, make us better, eventually we're going to start making everything better. You know, at least that's a start, and that's an actionable plan, right? Everything else that I've heard is like, it's a band-aid or trying to fix a system that's broken. The only way to fix this is to fix the people. We need to fix us. You know, we need to fix us as a people.
Ourselves. Yeah.
We need to fix ourselves, and
Look in the mirror.
right, and again,
with the man in the mirror.
yo, and my man Michael Jackson was doing that. My man, like, you know, my man had half a walked Sony with half of their catalog, and you know, all of a sudden he's,
Yeah, I don't know what to
Michael
do with
Jackson.
him. Yeah,
I don't
maybe I shouldn't have brought him up.
Michael Jackson, one of the greatest of all time. Like, one of the greatest of all time. You know, or maybe the greatest of all time. That guy is crazy, man. So good. Interesting.
Better than Prince?
Fuck no. Prince is my favorite.
That's a tough call.
Prince is my favorite.
Prince is
No,
your
it's
favorite?
not. Prince over Michael for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Oh,
For
shoot.
sure.
Now this is documented, bro. Do you want me to cut that out?
No, you can keep
Do you
that
want me to
in.
cut that out?
No,
I don't got a problem with that one.
It's
I mean,
all staying in, it's all hot.
Michael Jackson is incredibly amazing. Like one of the greatest of all time, obviously. But like,
Yeah.
but Prince, man, like
I don't know
Prince
how
was
like
writing
factual this is.
songs, playing the music.
Did you hear that they had a beef, Michael Jackson and Prince?
I don't think they had a beef, but
Not a specifically, I guess, like a beef, but are you familiar with the story? Like, I think it was will.i.am told the story. He brought Michael Jackson to a Prince show once, and they got like in their own booth, and it was supposed to be like separately off to the side so that they didn't know, like so that people like couldn't tell that they were there. And then I guess like Prince went and like basically played the bass like in Michael Jackson's face, like pretty much just played the bass like at him, and
Right.
he was just kind of like, "What's this all about?" Like, it was like a subtle attack on Michael Jackson. So
Well,
I feel,
I think Prince was just a badass. Like Prince,
oh yeah, you got
He absolutely was.
when he beat
There's
Charlie
just a
Murphy's ass at
different-
basketball.
Oh, that was amazing.
just a different like think about their lives though. Like Prince had a somewhat normal childhood, right? Like he didn't pop up, like he didn't get into the music industry until his like late teens,
Yeah.
early 20s. Like Michael Jackson was in the music industry from a kid,
Yeah.
like from
5 years
like
old.
5-6 years old. He was a young
Yeah.
7 years old. Like
Right.
imagine being in that industry your entire life. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Macaulay
Imagine
Culkin,
growing
he
up in
barely
your
made it.
around that. But yeah, no, there's a funny story about like there was you know the song "Bad." You know I'm bad.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I'm bad. Right. So I guess there was gonna be like a remix, or no, not the remix. The original song, I guess, was gonna be a duet. Like Michael wanted Prince on the song, and Prince, I guess, was gonna sing the second verse, and like the second verse starts off like "Your butt is mine," and Prince, I guess, was just like, "Yo, who's singing the second verse? Because I'm not singing your butt is mine, and you're not singing my butt is yours." Like, and Prince is kind of a baller, you know. It's like, yeah, no, like I'll turn down the song from Michael Jackson because of that, sure.
Yeah, no, it's
Um,
like, bro, I don't have your butt, and you definitely don't have my butt.
Right. Yeah, and so Prince, just be more, you know, just because I'm a, you know, I Prince does the thing that I like to do. I'm not a dancer, like I'm not a crazy like vocals, like I'm not a Michael Jackson vocalist. Like I produce the songs, I play the songs, I do my thing, and that's more in cut from like by no means comparing myself to Prince, but like
Yeah,
more
no,
cut
I get
from
what you're
that
saying.
cloth than
Right.
a Michael Jackson cloth. And Prince just carried himself with like such a swagger. He was like, he was like
Prince
5'2".
invented swagger.
He
Oh,
he
yeah.
was a peanut. Like
Yeah.
I would have towered over him.
5'2".
You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
5'2", tiny. Yeah, tiny.
When you're short, you got to carry yourself like that. You know,
Dude, I would have never
makes up for
I
the
would have
short.
never thought if I would have never thought, yo, and it's like and so, you know, not this is a completely different conversation, but it's like, you know, you think of modern day sex symbols, right? It's like they fuck us up in every angle. Like women are meant to like look a certain way, like men are meant to act and look a certain way, and like my dude
Right.
Prince was not
Yeah.
the like cliche.
Right.
He's
I
this
feel like
short,
a lot of rock
skinny.
stars definitely had a feminine look.
Well, but so what I'm saying is like, and those were the guys that like were the most desired by
Right.
females. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like
Are
we
you trying
have
to say
just
that every woman is
it's-
secretly a lesbian? Is that what you're saying?
no, I'm not. I'm not. But I'm saying that. I'm
Be in touch
saying
with your
that-
feminine side.
No, I'm not. I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying
You know what?
is
I take it back.
we have these societal like preconceived notions, and where did those come from? Not us. They came from a magazine.
Societal
They came, you know,
pressure.
yeah, you know.
Yeah, no,
True.
but people are definitely, that's another thing that's been pretty fluid these days. Like, I mean, kids just grow up like as humans and then decide like where they kind of fall into those categories. And back in the day, it was like, if you're a boy, you like girls. If you're a girl, you like boys. And like, I remember growing up, and that was, I feel like throughout my life, that has become like a much more accepted thing, you know?
It definitely has in recent years. Yeah.
But that's also not anything new, right? Nothing new.
Yeah,
under
that
the
is like,
sun.
there's definitely old stories of like, they found like old texts of like relationships and stuff. It's very
Yeah. People didn't
interesting.
just start being gay like 5 years ago. That's
No,
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 I'm
that's
not
kind
even
of thing.
Let's talk about all of it, like it, you
Yeah.
know, like identity and gender and gender roles.
Yeah.
This is actually, and again, like I said, I'm big into history. I got this history book that you should. It's called Lessons of History by this guy William Durant, and
I'm writing that down.
yeah, and it's like it's good. It's like he was used to
Wait,
be
is
a
that a
philosopher.
psychology book?
Yeah, it's a history book. And it was, but so his thing, he was a philosopher and wrote a lot of philosophy books, but he wanted to know, well, what's philosophy? Philosophy is the study of man and why they do what they do and why they are the way they are, right? And so he studied all this philosophy and came to the conclusion that, wait, if I want to know how man is and why man is and what man does, like, I got to look at history. And so he came to the conclusion that history is like the real only philosophy. But in his book, he talks about that. It's like everything cycles, like, you know, gender, you know, gay, straight, homo, you know, all the different types of genders, like that, like all the difference and the that comes in cycles. It comes in waves. And you know, what does that mean for individuals is that I don't know. Like, I'm certainly not here to say any of that. Like, I have no idea. Again, like, I'm working on me. I don't know what's going on in anyone else's head, but I just go ahead and assume that whatever someone chooses to do with their life is what they want to do.
Right.
And, you know, they got reasons for that, right?
That's all you can do.
And
Is
so-
just trust that people are, you know, they're not just doing this stuff for a reaction or anything. It's what's in their heart. It's what's in their soul. It's like,
Oh, dude, absolutely. So
You know.
again, especially in a society where it's like it's not like it's not like getting nails or something that that's a very, to think that someone wouldn't make whoever's making that decision about their life, like, they clearly know that that's the decision they need to make for their life.
right.
Like,
And why anyone would question
not-
that, I don't understand. Like,
right.
that's
It's like you think this person's trying to take the easy way out by being completely different? No.
Right.
It's like, no, they're doing
No.
it because this is who they are. And but again, like, not my place to speak on any of that at all, you know, but I just, whatever makes people happy in their own skin, it makes them feel comfortable in their own skin. I want that for them.
Mhm.
I want
Yeah,
that for
bottom
them.
line for sure.
I,
Yeah.
I,
Yep.
I want them to be as best as they can. Because
Right.
like I've been saying all night, like, I need you as best as you can be so we can help make this place as best as it can be. And if whatever makes you feel good about you, man, like, or woman or they, or, you know, whatever you go by, you know, whatever pronoun you choose and whatever, you know, however you choose to live your life, why does that matter to me?
Right.
You know
And
what
why
I
does
mean?
that bother some
Why-
people? Why does
Right.
that bother people?
Right.
I don't.
And if
I'll
you ask
never
people
understand.
like that, they don't have answers for you. It's like,
True.
Well, so bring it back to my belief comment that I made earlier. It's like when you start analyzing the beliefs that you hold, they kind of fall apart. It's like, well, why do you believe that this person should be this way? It's like, well, because
I'd
Yeah.
It's
rather
like-
it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
it's like
You're one
because-
person. Like your opinion does not overrule everyone else's.
Well, but
Exactly.
again, it's like that. It'd be one thing if they had an informed opinion, but they
Exactly.
probably don't.
They probably don't.
Well,
right.
They probably
It's
don't
funny
have an
because
They've
for
just
years
been
and
they've been
years-
taught what they've been taught, and they've it's all conditioning.
You're projecting your value system on someone else's.
Yeah.
Right. Which is
And,
bullshit.
You know, that's
Don't do that.
well. That's just when we tend to get into like
Because-
when we start to have problems with people.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
you should be the way that I want you to be. It's like,
Mm.
well, no, I'm
No.
gonna be how I want.
Yeah, you're not
You
me.
know, like-
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
it's
My
less
life.
about also. Sorry, yawning. It's less about I think sometimes the people trying to control other people, than also for years like a lot of the just like same sex anything was typically considered like evil and sinful and like
Yeah, religious. Yeah,
there was
all the
religious
religious-
connotations that people took far more seriously that terrified them into believing like, no, I'm saving you by trying to coerce you away from that. So that is definitely something like, not that it was good in any way, but it's interesting how like mindsets have changed and people realize like a lot of that scripture and whatever like was written by people that just had their own views as well.
exactly.
So you gotta have to, and that's we're going like this is our Alex Jones podcast. We went in tonight.
No, don't make me Alex Jones.
Yeah,
You're not
don't
Alex
say that.
Jones.
Don't
You're
say
not-
that.
I didn't
Don't
mean
make
it
me
that
Alex
way.
Jones.
I didn't mean it that way. We
This
probably
is our
will-
Stephen Michael
We
podcast.
definitely This is our Alex Jones is okay sometimes. This is our Joe Rogan podcast.
No,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah, no. Listen, this is what happens when you bring me on to talk. Like,
No, I mean it's fair.
You
This
know?
is all things.
it's
that
good
are
though.
going
It's
on in
all
the
good
world.
stuff. It's
Yeah.
good conversation.
yeah. But yeah, so I am gonna wrap it up though. So
Yeah, I was
sure,
gonna say
yeah,
we
we've
don't.
gone
How-
deep.
We're going on hour number 4 now, I think. So we'll.
yeah, you're about to get me starting to talk about religion, bro. Like that's like another like
Yeah, we'll cut
18
it off
hours.
before we get into that.
right. Like, what do you want me like? I'll don't
Bottom
make me
line of
go
this
down these
podcast-
We'll have you on
rabbit
again
holes,
at some
like,
point.
I know. Yeah, for sure.
If we could let's post this clip out there just so people can get a glimpse if they want to skim through TLDR.
Yeah, shout out to anyone who watches this podcast
We're
front to
gonna-
back
we're gonna
with no
put
Yeah,
this
you're
out.
interruptions.
crazy.
TLDR, we want everybody to be good. Everyone just be nice to each other. It's cool.
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah,
Everyone
be nice
just
to
be
each other.
happy, pursue yourself, do
Do what makes you
things
happy.
for,
Do it,
for
yeah.
the sake of being good. And we want to be
Yeah.
sustainable and make your own garden and
and
stuff.
don't criticize other people for what makes them happy.
Yeah.
That's all good stuff. I like all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could have
I
done
like
like a
all that.
5-minute podcast. No, I'm just kidding. This is perfect.
Yeah.
Please listen, everybody. We're clipping this out.
No, there was
Thanks.
some great stuff in there.
Yeah.
Also, merch.
Yeah.
Also merch. Also buy my t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I do music, so go listen to my music.
Yeah. Well, hopefully
Yes.
that clip could be all 60 seconds. I think we got it. But then we'll do a separate clip for your plugs as well.
What
Actually,
no, speaking of music though, one more thing. What's next? Like what do you got in the plans? Anything?
Yeah, so just released the EP a week or so ago.
Yep.
Released did a couple of live videos, couple of stripped down versions of songs. Got a video, probably got another video or two for this release.
Okay,
Definitely
cool.
have a couple of more things that I'm going to be pushing out with this music. And so after the EP, after we push all this stuff, just been in the studio recording. So again, a lot of the stuff I've done up to now, I demo at the crib and I bring it to I've been bringing it to the stage, Bridge Sound Stage with Arc, and we've been kind of building it out from there, you know,
Yeah.
re-recording guitar parts, doing vocals, you know, whatever. But I upgraded my home recording setup so I can get good usable quality takes. I
Okay.
built a, like if I had my phone, I'd spin you around. I built like a little isolation booth so I can get good clean vocals.
Nice.
Are you willing to
You know, got
disclose what kind of mic you're
a new
using?
mic. Yeah. I rock it. The mic I use in the studio with Arc is a TLM 67. So I wanted to get good quality, you know, and instead of running all these different mic tests and getting one, you know, pinching pennies and getting one that was a little cheaper, I just said, you know, fuck it, and bought the mic that I use at the studio. You know, a little expensive, but an investment,
Yeah,
right?
just
Best
peeped at
investment
you.
or
That's
investments in
wild.
yourself. Yeah.
Good investment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that stuff's worth it for sure. Like when you, I mean, when it comes down to it, like you said, those professional equipment recordings, when it really comes down to it, like one time Jack and I were in a real studio and I'd like done like a ridiculous freestyle on the microphone, and the guy that was the
I
engineer
forgot about that.
had a horrible time with what I put down, because like I was moving away from the mic and I didn't realize it was that sensitive that like I had to be right on it. And it's probably happening right now, but like I figure I'd have it sensitive enough to be a little bit away. But it was just one of those situations where I was like, oh man, I have a mic at home, but not a mic that sensitive. Like I figured I could be a little bit away from it. And when you catch those minute things, like you can just do so much more with your voice and then later change it in post because you have these deep like analog waves to work with. And that's something that some of these mics don't give, but I think there's definitely a budget difference. You know, you can get like a good balance probably somewhere in there too, but it's perfect to take the studio in a sense home with you. So you don't have to think about that at all.
Well,
you can probably send the stems right over,
I
right?
mean, so that's what we're going to be doing. So I got, obviously and I'm recording, I got a new interface. And so like I'm going to get dope recordings here and it's going to be its own vibe, but it's, you know, I'm recording, you know, I'm going to be doing this for the foreseeable future. I'm going to be releasing a lot of stuff until the next album. But so once I start releasing stuff, we're going to be, you know, releasing stuff. So, and again, until the next album, which is to be determined. So, you know, it's obviously not the same as recording into like $100,000 worth of equipment, right? You know, you're going to get a different sound, but it's going to be a consistent sound and it's going to be a high quality sound. The stems are going to be able to be, you know, as good as I can get them. And then, you know, when you send, I'll be doing, because I mix and, you know, I can do that type of stuff. But, you know, for the stuff that I'm going to be releasing right now, I'm still working on my mix game. So obviously I'm going to, you know, ship that off to Arc. And, you know, and I don't necessarily have to be there at this point. We've developed, you know, and, you know, a good working relationship. And, you know, we kind of, you know, he knows the kid's vibe, you know, so, and we're on the, you know, we can communicate, we have good communication. So, you know, it's going to allow me to be faster, record more, and honestly, not for nothing, you know, recording by yourself and, you know, not having to do vocals in 2 hours, you know, and just take them.
Takes the pressure
you know,
off,
I can
Definitely takes the
you
pressure
know, now
off,
I'm going to
for
be
sure.
sitting around and, well, right, and not even necessarily pressure, but less time to experiment.
Right.
You know, so
who was it? We had
you know,
when we had Glasshouse on the podcast, he was like, he was saying,
Glass.
yeah. Oh, you know Glasshouse?
Yeah, John Glass threw some production on one of the songs, and we recorded my sister's vocals down at Glasshouse. Yeah, I've done some work with Glass. John's like, and I'm gonna be doing more.
No, I
work.
meant not John Glass.
It's a little confusing. We've also had John Glass.
Yeah, no, so we also had that.
Oh,
that was
my bad. I'm
this dude.
confused. I'm like, well, because he's got Glasshouse Studios.
Glass House Studios, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So different person.
Yeah,
Either
yeah,
way,
yeah.
shout out to John Glass. John Glass.
Big shout out John Glass. Big
Shout
shout
out
out
to
John
John
Glass.
Glass.
We had him
John
on the
Glass, a legend.
podcast before. He's a great dude.
One of the best. One of the best.
No, but this dude from Quincy, he used to go by King Cade, but now he
Oh,
goes by Glass House. But we had him on the podcast, and he was just saying how he likes to record alone. It was a funny quote. He was like, "Because I like to make love to the microphone, and I don't want people to see that." And I was like, I thought that was funny, but it was like, that makes sense. Like, you want to be experimental, try different things. Like, it's just more comfortable to be by yourself sometimes, probably.
Right. Well, think about it just in not as like a performer, as an artist. Think about anything, anytime you're doing something that puts you in a vulnerable position.
Right.
And you're gonna be slightly exposed, right? Like maybe giving a speech, or I don't know, like you practice and get it better by yourself, right? That's where you get it. That's where you get it good. And not saying that again, that I didn't, I obviously like knew what I was doing when I was going into the booth most of the time. And sometimes not really, and you just wing it. But like that will be a different dynamic to it. I'll be able to. I'm excited, man. I'm like actually gonna give myself, like I said, it's a journey back to myself. Like I play a lot of guitar, so I know I've put a little bit of guitar work on the first two projects, and there's a lot of guitar on it, but I'm excited. I got a lot more songs that I'm gonna be playing a little bit more. I'm just really at a place where I'm about to start like letting myself just have fun with all this, and like not like, because for a bit there was like, you quit your job, you gotta take it really seriously, like make this, you gotta
Especially with
like,
with the quitting your job thing, I feel like you probably put a lot of pressure on yourself, like to just. Of course you did. Anyone would, but
Absolutely,
it's like
yeah.
that's a big life decision.
For sure. But, again, and I'll end with this, it's like, you gotta just, let yourself do your thing. And, so that's what's coming. Obviously this has been my thing, but what comes next is, I'm really feeling more and more comfortable with everything, with myself, with my music, with my mind, with my abilities, like what I can do, where I'm going, clarity of path. It's just all kind of getting to a place where it's like I'm feeling really good about things, and I'm excited to share what's coming next, and
We're excited
and
to
what
be a part
comes
of that.
next, who knows? Yeah, no, dude, this is the first I think this is the first podcast or interview type thing that I've done.
Dope. That's awesome.
Yeah, so
no, we're happy to have you.
So when the pop off happens, like you heard it first.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's my favorite thing. I love to say that, and I love to say sound off in the comments. Those are my two favorite things.
We're gonna make T-shirts that say "sound off" in the comments.
Yeah, that's coming next. Soon come.
Right.
Soon come.
Absolutely. Hey, dude, listen. Speak it into existence. Whatever you want, it all starts with an idea, and then you manifest it. So again, use your words. If you guys want to take this podcast to the next level,
you heard
that's
it here
what
first.
You want. You can make that happen. No doubt in my mind. You guys are clearly capable. You have the ability to organize. You've had 75 episodes, right? You've had 75.
Hey, I can go watch them and rejudge that statement, but I appreciate what you're saying.
Listen. What did we just talk about for like 4 hours?
No.
What did we talk about for 4 hours?
You're right.
We went deep. This was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every episode has been a learning experience.
Right, dude. Sure. And maybe it's at episode 150 that it's like, now it's a thing. Now it's like this huge thing.
That happens. I've seen podcasts that don't start popping really until like they get to like episode 100 or something, and it's like all of a sudden people are starting to catch on.
Yeah,
We're
just keep.
doing
You
it.
never know. You just
Are
got to
guys
keep at
having-
it.
Are you having fun with it?
Absolutely.
been
Yeah,
fun.
no, we're having a lot
You
of fun.
like doing it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So dude, like
Right.
that's gonna drive you to keep going and just
That's
get a little
that's
better.
what's driving us to keep going right now. Like that's it. We enjoy
And that-
doing it. We
Oh,
enjoy
yeah.
talking
And
to
dude,
people
you're
like you and just, shooting the shit and getting people to watch it. Like it's fun.
You're crushing in my eyes. You're crushing in my eyes. You had an idea. You're seeing it through. You're making it happen, dude. That's success. Like that's a
We appreciate
successful
that for
endeavor.
sure.
Yeah,
Appreciate that, man.
We
Appreciate
try to
that.
put things to work. Yeah.
no doubt, no doubt. Well,
All right, we'll let you
I'm a
go. It's
little
been
tired.
it's been a long time, but we appreciate your time. We appreciate everything,
Yeah.
all the insight you gave us. It was a lot of good conversation.
it was good.
Thank you for coming on, man.
For sure. I really appreciate you guys having me on, and hopefully we link again. I would love to say I'll see you at a live show, but I don't know when the next time that's going to
I
happen.
know,
is,
man.
So,
I know.
you know,
Hopefully soon. Hopefully
I'll-
May
soon.
see you soon because you get a T-shirt. You don't have to say it on air. But
Oh yeah,
we'll
anyone who's been a
right.
guest on the podcast gets free merch. So we'll
let's
send a
go.
T-shirt your way.
let's go. Let's go.
Yep.
When you write my name though, Steven Owen, not Steve. I need that N.
Oh,
I
hey.
need that N. Don't short me.
I'm not
Don't
pointing
skip me
fingers,
on the
but
N,
I
dude.
might have gotten false information.
Dude,
I might have sent him the wrong email address. I don't
But
know.
imagine if it was Steve Michael. It just does. It's like the Steve. Like
I
Yeah.
don't know.
just
I
doesn't
thought
work.
maybe it was like a George Michael one syllable kind of thing. I was like, but it's
Oh
okay.
man.
It's all right. I found you. We
Stephen
found
Michael sounds better. Rolls
Yeah.
off the tongue.
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely.
And now that it's
All right,
documented that
fellas.
this happened,
All right,
we
yeah,
just
we'll-
confirm
we'll let you
this, so to speak. But yeah,
Thank you, man.
Thank you for
All
coming
right,
on.
have a
I
It was
good
great to see you.
Be safe out there.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Oh,
Thanks,
and
guys.
sorry, social media plugs really
Oh,
quick.
yeah.
What do we got?
Oh, yeah. Instagram's the main spot at Stephen Michael _music. And then I'm also on Facebook and it's at Stephen Mike MIC music. So Stephen Mike music.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
There
And
it is.
yeah, go
You
check
know where
that
to find
out.
him.
Spotify. all
Check it
the
out. Check
streaming
out the
sources.
new EP.
Still Lost out there.
Still Lost.
Go
out
get you
there
some
everywhere.
lessons in learning and all that good stuff. And stay on the lookout. Follow your boy. A lot of stuff coming. A lot of stuff coming.
Yes.
More of a doer. So I
Love
can't wait to
that.
show you. I don't like to talk about that
Right.
type of stuff.
Yeah.
I like to talk about other stuff, but
Yeah, no,
I'd
we
like to
know
just-
this.
I'd like to just show you the music. Yeah, cut out like all the stuff.
No, it's
Nah,
all good, dude. It
we're
was
gonna
all
keep
good.
pretty
It
much
was
most
all
of
good.
that in. I'll cut
It's
out
all
what
hot.
you
It's
asked
all
me to
hot.
cut out.
Keep
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Get the kid going. Yeah, fuck. Anyways.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Yeah.
You too, brother.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Peace,
you.
fellas.